It got a little dicey at the end in the opener, but the Blue Jays pulled off the victory. They'll look for another one today against the Tampa Bay Rays with Matt Shoemaker going to the hill. The men who will call this game are standing by. Let's throw it over to Dan Schulman and Buck Martinez.
Jamie, if the Blue Jays are to be an improved team in 2020, one of the reasons why, you got to believe, will be better starting pitching. And one thing that can help with that would be a healthy Matt Shoemaker.
Yeah, Matt Shoemaker made 5 starts for the Blue Jays, so Blue Jay fans might not be that familiar with him, but his first start a year ago against Detroit was phenomenal. He retired the first 10 batters he faced as a Blue Jay, and he used a combination of different pitches. He's got a great split finger pitch. He'll use that all the time. But Shoemaker is one of those guys. He's not going to overpower you or impress you with velocity. He's certainly going to take the sting out of your bat with a combination of off-speed pitches.
Also a veteran pitcher, a lot of young guys in the clubhouse right now who can go to him for advice, who can look up to him. Today, they're looking for some good innings out of Shoemaker as the Blue Jays try to start the season 2-0. Back to you, Jamie.
Wouldn't that be nice if they could, especially in a 60-game season? Every victory is an important one. Here is Joe Siddall. We learned earlier today that the Blue Jays intend to start Thomas Hatch tomorrow. It'll be his Major League debut, unless he's used in this game, and that's a big if, depending on how long Shoemaker can go. What do you make of all of these options that Charlie Montoyo has right now?
I bet Charlie's loving them because it's great to have a lot of good options. Thomas Hatch was acquired from the Cubs in the David Phelps trade last season, and they really like what he did. And when he came over from the Cubs, he went to Double-A New Hampshire and was very, very good. It will be interesting to see how Charlie handles this. If Hatch does not get in the game today, it sounds like he will be the starter, and he may piggyback with Anthony Kay coming in behind him. I find that interesting because you've got a righty and then maybe the lefty K, and perhaps Charlie's playing a little game against his good buddy Kevin Cash, where you mix and match a little bit, not necessarily announcing your starter very early. You bring in a lefty, and that'll be interesting in the middle innings if Anthony Kay enters the game after Hatch, because it forces Cash's hand. Do you go to your bench and maybe pinch hit a right-hander for G-Man Choi or that sort of thing? The reason it plays into your hand is because you get the righty into the ball game, a righty hitter for the Rays, and then guess what? He's got to face the power righty arms later in the ball game. So a lot of strategy happening. Charlie came from Tampa, and he's going to have it going on against his buddy Kevin Cash.
Yes, he is. Last night, Cavan Biggio struck out 3 times, but he also bunted his way aboard and hit a 3-run home run to right field. So in doing so, he extended his unbased streak that goes back to, obviously, last September to now 30 games, which is awfully impressive. With respect to that bunt in the 4th inning, he was drawing on a lesson he'd learned previously against Tampa Bay. Listen.
They had done that to me in the past, 2 years, and last year I bunted and got a double out of it, and so with the right-hander up this time, I was just trying to bunt it right at the second baseman as hard as I could, and the first baseman cut it off, but I was able to force a bad throw and force the pitcher to get over, and I can beat him. So yeah, when the field opens up like that, and you can practice your bunting and be confident with it, especially with a long inning out on the field before that. I just wanted to, give Ryu a little bit of a rest. And instead of taking a pitch there, I was, just go all out with a bunt.
A couple of things here. First, yes, you heard him correctly. He did have a bunt double last year. And if you haven't seen it, go to your computer and find it. It's spectacular to watch. You almost never see that. And 2, he just mentioned practicing bunting. That tells you everything you need to know about the way Cavan Biggio thinks about playing this game, doesn't it?
He's certainly got some good genes, that's for sure, with his dad being a Hall of Famer. But with Cavan Biggio, he'll do anything, and he sees the field. Literally, he sees the shift being played against him. He bunted down the third baseline last year against the Rays, but this time he pulled it with him, and he said he was trying to bunt it hard at the second baseman. If they're going to shift him, that's fine. I'm going to try to beat you any way I can, even if it means laying down a bunt. Anytime you put a bunt down on the ground and make the pitcher field his position, good things can happen. And then later on, he did it with the long ball, and he laid off a couple of pitches to get himself into a very good count. I also love the comment that he made about Hyun-Jin Ryu, who had a bit of a long inning, the inning before that bunt hit. So he's trying to give him a breather. He was going to take a pitch, but instead he thought he'd try to drop a bunt down. Anything to ignite things. Remember, Charlie Morton had retired 9 of the first 10 batters he faced. Changed things up and really led to a nice inning.
Well, let's get set for this one then, as they're about to throw first pitch. Time for the marquee matchup, though, Joe.
Teoscar Hernandez against Ryan Yarbrough. He only has 2 hits against Yarbrough in limited at-bats, but both of them are home runs. And Ryan Yarbrough will throw that cutter. That's it right there, and he'll try to bury it down and in on righties. He'll try to run it in on their hands. But if he leaves something out over that Teoscar can catch out front, that ball will be in flight, and that man has a lot of power.
So he'll try and go yard on Bro. As Teoscar gets set to go, second game of a 60-game season. We're thrilled to have you aboard. One more short break, and it's first pitch from Tropicana Field.
Jays back at it this afternoon against the Rays, trying to make it 2 in a row to start the season. Dan Shulman, Buck Martinez, Hazel May with you here in the Sportsnet studios in Toronto. Bo Bichette and the rest of the gang down in St. Petersburg, Florida, trying to put another win up there against the Rays here today. The starting lineup is brought to you by TD, proud fan and official bank of the Toronto Blue Jays. Cavan Biggio with a bunt single and a 3-run homer last night, and has now reached base in 30 consecutive games, obviously going well back into last season, the longest active streak in Major League Baseball. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. DHing today. Travis Shaw's at first, and we'll see a Major League debut this afternoon for Santiago Espinal. The Blue Jays will take on left-hander Ryan Yarbrough.
Yarbrough's been a terrific pitcher his first 2 big league seasons. He's gone 27-12 for the Rays, and he's had a good run against the Blue Jays. He's got a 6-1 career record in 9 games against the Blue Jays with an outstanding .245 earned run average. He's not overpowering. He's not going to pitch like Blake Snell, who'll make the start tomorrow. He's got a cutter he'll use a lot. He pitches inside to the right-handers, uses his changeup very effectively. You've got to stay in the middle of the diamond to be effective against Ryan Yarbrough.
Yep, he has the reputation of being a little bit of a king of soft contact. You can hit him, you just can't hit him that hard. Let's see how the Blue Jays fare this afternoon. Right down the middle at 88. And a strike taken by Bo Bichette, who late in last night's game fouled the ball off his left knee or leg and was limping a little bit in the last inning. But from what we could see watching batting practice on our monitor here in the studio, looked fine. And there's a cutter that runs inside, a ball and a strike.
Yeah, we watched him take ground balls today down at the Trop, and he didn't appear to have any problems or concerns with that leg.
Bichette, Biggio, and Gurriel. Lourdes Gurriel Jr. in the lineup today after not playing last night. And with Vladimir Guerrero Jr. hitting fourth, it's the, whatever you want to call them, it's that core group, but you can't say core 4. I think the Yankees went out and patented that when they had their group in the late 90s, but all 4 of them are in there. And because Bo came up late last year and Gurriel was hurt for part of the time, those 4 players, Buck, actually haven't been in the lineup all that often together. And you can imagine, you know, how much higher the ceiling gets for this team if those 4 guys are all in the lineup on a consistent basis.
Yeah, obviously they've come through the minor league system together, and Gurriel is back in the lineup. He did not play in the opener yesterday, but boy, oh boy, you talk about 4 young budding stars, top of your batting order at such a young age. It's all pretty impressive.
Bichette will fight off a 2-strike pitch, as we saw him do on a number of occasions in last night's game. Charlie Montoyo thrilled to have Gurriel back in the lineup. Bit of a twinge in his left side a few days ago, so didn't play in the games in Boston, didn't play last night. But not only are they all in the lineup, they're hitting 1, 2, 3, 4, which I would imagine would be the way they would line up when they're all in the lineup this year.
Yeah, Charlie's been pretty adamant that Gurriel's going to be his 3-hitter. Whenever he's healthy, he said, I like him in the 3 spot. I think with Biggio leading off and then Cavan, the left-handed hitter, hitting next, then you've got Gurriel and Guerrero. And then you've got many options this afternoon. It'll be Travis Shaw batting behind Guerrero in the 5th spot.
Yeah, they love having a lefty hitting behind Guerrero, then kind of going left, right through the rest of the lineup as much as they can. Coming in. Boy, that's a good pitch.
I don't blame Yarbrough for walking off the mound. That looked like strike 3. Hunter Wendelstadt's the home plate umpire today, but you can see Yarbrough's reaction suggesting he thought it was a good pitch.
Even if it's a miss, though, it's a good miss. Getting just inside on Bichette, trying to come in there again. Jammed him. Weak ground ball to second for the first out. Well, we mentioned the Fab Four, as we're calling them today. Bichette, Biggio, Gurriel, and Guerrero, amazingly enough, only played in the same game 8 times last year. So small sample size alert, but look at how much better the team offense was when all 4 of those guys were in the lineup.
Well, I tell you what, this is so promising for the Blue Jays to have these young players not only in your lineup, but batting in the top 4 spots in the batting order. It's pretty special. They're impactful defensively and certainly impactful with their glove. Again, you see the 4-man outfield and 3 defenders on the infield for Biggio.
First pitch swinging, and he finds some green. Lines one into left center field for a base hit. Remember, he bunted. Joe and Jamie talked about it on the pregame show. He bunted for a base hit against the 3-man infield last night. Swinging away here, solid base hit.
He has now reached base in 31 straight games with this leadoff single here in the first inning for him. And you can see the defense, how spread it out it is, and he just goes right up the middle. Great swing, great start to his afternoon with a single in his first at bat.
And now Gurriel coming up with a mask on. We saw him do this a little bit at Rogers Center during summer camp, off and on. And his first at bat of the regular season will be with a mask on. One of the few players who was doing this. He had said he was a little bit non-committal about whether he was comfortable doing it. Nice fashionable Blue Jay mask that he's got going. Gurriel had an .869 OPS last year. Now again, had some trouble staying on the field. But boy, when he's in there, he just makes the Blue Jay offense look that much better.
Well, he sure does. And he made a transition last year from second base to the outfield. He did that seamlessly as well. He's a very good hitter. And like you say, you keep him in a lineup, he can do some damage.
And like some of his teammates, if he can lay off the bad stuff and force the pitcher into the strike zone, boy, he can barrel up some baseballs. Yarbrough is generally, again, not a guy who's going to throw the ball by you. It's more about soft contact. Towering fly ball to left field, but it looks like it'll stay in the yard. Brandon Lau just shy of the track, 2 down.
Lau making a start in left field. He did not start the game last night. He came in as a pinch hitter.
And here's Vladimir Guerrero Jr. He's getting the start at DH today, and we'll see this from time to time. And this is a tough thing. It's very rare for a player this young to DH, especially when it's not just a one-time thing. And a lot of guys who are used to being position players struggle at the outset hitting as well when they're DHing. Just the routine is a little bit different. And the Blue Jays have taken some measures to try to deal with that with Vladdy. He has reached out to the likes of David Ortiz, Edgar Martinez, and Nelson Cruz to try to get a feel for routine and rhythm as a DH. Buck, if you look at Vladdy's numbers last year as a DH, 96 at bats, only hit 219. This is not something to just be swept aside and say, oh, it'll be fine. It can be fine, but it's something that players kind of have to get comfortable doing.
Now, it's a challenging position for a young hitter to have that much time on your hand, sitting on the bench thinking about each and every pitch in your previous at bat and carrying that to the plate next time. Generally, it's a veteran player who's not as good defensively in the field that becomes a DH later on in their career, but it's unusual to have such a young DH.
Biggio at first, 2 down, just underway, top of the first. And a ground ball to short. Easy play for Adames, and the Blue Jays are retired. No runs, a base hit, and a man left. Matt Shoemaker will make his season debut next. Bottom of the first, no score, the Jays and Rays. Let's take a look at the Tampa Bay lineup, and a lot of changes, a lot of versatility, so all kinds of left-handed bats into the lineup today for the Rays. Ji-Man Choi, not your prototypical leadoff hitter, but a good professional at bat, says Kevin Cash, and that's why he's up there. He's got some pop, dangerous hitter, who can reach the seats easily. This will be a challenging lineup for Matt Shoemaker.
That sure will. Shoemaker has pitched well against Tampa Bay, but he hasn't faced them since 2017, and only Kevin Kiermaier was in the lineup when he last pitched against the Rays. Great numbers last year, albeit just 5 starts. He was injured in a start in Oakland on April 20th. That ended his season. He had a torn ACL, missed the whole year, but stayed positive and upbeat. He's done a heck of a job of staying ready to pitch this season. It'll be interesting to see this first start of the year for Matt Shoemaker.
Shoemaker working to Reese McGuire this afternoon. Choi steps into the box and ready to go here in the bottom of the first. And a chopper towards first. Nice easy bounce for Travis Shaw. 1 pitch, 1 down.
Time now to take a look at the defense. The defense is brought to you by TD Power Fan, an official bank of the Toronto Blue Jays. There's Gurriel, Grichuk, and Hernandez in the outfield. How about Santiago Espinal? He did a great job in the minor leagues after being acquired in a trade from Boston. He's a terrific young player that can play all over the infield and in the outfield. But I think Charlie Montoya has been more impressed with the way he handles the bat. He can do a little offense for you as well as being so versatile on defense.
That's the guy to keep an eye on. Good in the spring, good at summer camp, and has earned his way onto this team. Here's Brandon Lau. Lau hit .270, 17 home runs last year, finished 3rd in American League Rookie of the Year balloting, won by Yordan Alvarez of the Astros. The Blue Jays had a couple of guys get votes. Cavan Biggio finished 5th. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. finished 7th. Of course, had Bo Bichette come up earlier in the year, maybe he doesn't win it, but he's certainly in the running the way that he played, if he could have sustained that over a longer stretch. Blue Jays had more games played by rookies than any team in baseball last year.
Yeah, and that wasn't a good thing necessarily until you think about how that carries over into the season, because they got their rookie season out of the way. Vladimir Guerrero coming into this season played just 123 games last year. We talk about the young players and how inexperienced they are.
Now this is going to wind up as a base hit. Talk about weak contact. That was that for Lau, but just squibbed it up the third baseline, got himself a single.
Yeah, you don't plan on those weakly hit balls. You defend against a hitter for the balls he hits hard. And that was just a little squibber off the end of the bat.
But with the shift on, nobody could make a play on it. Charlie Montoya said after the win last night, he was asked what the mood was like in the clubhouse, and he said, to be honest with you, it was like, quote, we made the playoffs. He said it was opening day. The group has bonded so much because of the quarantine situation they had in Toronto. They beat a tough pitcher in Charlie Morton. There was tension near the end of the game as Yandy Diaz steps in. That's a lot of emotion for an opening day win, but again, this is not a normal opening day.
No, not at all. But you think about everything this Blue Jays club has been through. Quarantined in Toronto, hopeful of playing at Rogers Center. Then finding out, hey, maybe we're going to Pittsburgh. No, that didn't work. Hey, how about Baltimore? No, that didn't work. They've been through a lot. So to get a win in a tough spot, someplace they've never won many games, it was an inspiring win and one that created a lot of energy.
Lau with the mask on as a base runner now, being held on by Shaw. Travis Shaw probably equally comfortable at both third base and first base. Same with this guy, Yandy Diaz. He can play both corner spots as well. And both of these teams really prioritizing defensive versatility. I mean, the Rays are like overboard on it in a good way. I mean, everybody can play second, third, left. Everybody can play multiple positions pretty much. And the Blue Jays definitely trending in that direction. You talked about Espinal and the different positions that he can play. The ability of Shaw to move around. The outfielders obviously can move around to different spots. Billy McKinney, who's with the team right now, he can play the outfield, but they also have him doing some work at first base just in case.
Shoemaker's got a terrific pickoff move, very quick to first base.
Scorched into right center for a base hit. And Lau making the turn on his way to third ahead of the throw when the Rays have runners on the corners with only one out.
This is one thing I have an issue with when you play such dramatic shifts against the team. There's only one guy in this lineup that has faced Matt Shoemaker in the past, and that's Kevin Kiermaier. So you really don't have any information to set up the defense on other than what the pitcher generally does and what the hitter generally does, but it's not head-to-head information. So you can see they were set up to pull, and he goes the other way. Now the Lau base hit, you can just discount that because it was off the end of the bat, but Yandy Diaz stayed on that off-speed pitch and drove it into the alley in right center.
So the Rays threatening early here with the runners on the corners in the bottom of the first for their cleanup hitter today, the designated hitter Yoshi Tsutsugo, who hit a 2-run home run off Hyunjin Ryu in last night's game. 139 home runs in his last 4 years in Japan. First pitch swinging, and he's popped it up shallow center. Bichette there will make the catch. A very big second out for Matt Shoemaker.
Boy, there was a subtle piece of baseball instincts in that play right there that really played off. Because Bo called for that ball. Both Biggio and Bichette were in a position to make the play. But Bo dramatically said, I got it, let me have it. And Biggio was able to get out of the way and give Bo a clear shot to home plate. That was a heads-up move.
Tsutsugo retired, 2 down. And the batter now Joey Wendell, who is the second baseman for the Rays this afternoon. An injury-plagued year last year, was on the IL 3 different times. Hit just .231, barely played the second half of the year. 2 years ago was one of the best rookies in the American League. Just another good, solid, versatile player.
Yeah, he's a throwback too. You see, he doesn't wear batting gloves. Not a whole lot of pine tar on that bat. He's just one of those guys Kevin Cash can put anywhere on the diamond and expect to get a good effort from him.
And line to third, caught there by Espinal, and Shoemaker gets out of it. Gets out of a first and third, 1-out situation. Still no score.
One is thrilled to have Dante Bichette on board as a Blue Jays major league coach. Grichuk said Bichette isn't a huge mechanical guy, but where the former Rockies all-star is valuable to him is in his guiding him into a better frame of mind. Bichette has played this game for many years, says Grichuk, and he understands what we're thinking at particular moments. Bichette has been able to limit the bad conversations we can sometimes have in our heads and get us to a place where we have only good, productive thoughts. He'll get you thinking right, Grichuk told me, and just put you in a place to be successful. Dan.
Hazel, thank you very much. Dante Bichette, just given the title of Major League Coach, assisting in a number of areas, including hitting, of course, as Hazel mentioned, to Guillermo Martinez, the hitting coach for the Blue Jays. He can also help out Mark Budzinski with play in the outfield, because that's what Dante did as a player. But, you know, a fresh perspective, a fresh voice never hurts.
You know what I think he is? I think he's an excellent mental skills coach. A guy that has done it himself, been through the wars, understands what it is to step in that batter's box against big league pitchers. I think that's the strongest asset he brings to this ball club.
He could help out in the strength and conditioning department too.
Could, huh?
I mean, he is unbelievable. He's got the long sleeves on today, so you can't see, but he might be able to outbench press any of the players on the team.
Yeah, we saw his workout before batting practice today. Doing push-ups, running foul lines. He's in great shape.
He's feeling the forearm. Forearms feel good. Yeah, forearms feel pretty good. Travis Shaw leads it off. As mentioned, he's at first base today. And a ground ball to second. Up with it, Wendell. 1 down.
Dan, we talk about Dante Bichette working out, takes a lot of pride in himself, and you watch this. I mean, these are real push-ups. That reminds me a lot of your workout.
Oh, yeah.
It looks a lot like you.
Oh, yeah.
There's Chase Anderson there, too. He's starting to throw some side sessions, but Dante Bichette, what a big man.
Yeah.
He was a big man, but he played, and he's kept himself in great shape.
Yeah. Chase Anderson getting some throwing in on the field today. Brandon Drury was spotted on the field down at the Trop as well. Both of them are out right now as Randal Grichuk swings at the first pitch. And we told you, king of soft contact. That's what Ryan Yarbrough is when he is on. Lazy fly ball to center, 2 down.
In that regard, he and Shoemaker are very similar, because what they do is they keep the hitters off balance. They go back and forth, back and forth. They're never really sure about what pitch you're going to get.
Cavan Biggio, the only guy to solve Yarbrough so far, had a base hit to center field. Yarbrough has retired the other 5 batters. Blue Jays have obviously seen a lot of him. He pitched 5 times against the Jays last year, either as a starter or what the Rays call a bulk guy who would come in after an opener. And he would come in sometimes, Buck, in the 2nd inning and pitch into the 7th and be really effective.
Yeah, and Blue Jays never had much success against him. As we mentioned earlier, he's 6-1 for his career in 9 career games against Toronto.
Teoscar Hernandez hit a home run off Yarbrough last September in the closing week of the season, the last time that the Jays saw Yarbrough. Everything at the knees or below. Flip to first is in time to get him, and Yarbrough just took care of the Blue Jays on 7 pitches in the top of the 2nd. For the season's first week, Blue Jay fans across Ontario can join together in this ballpark tradition virtually, with all proceeds supporting families through COVID-19. Fans, get your tickets now for the grand prize rolling jackpot, which currently sits at, get this, over $224,000. Don't miss out. Go to BlueJays.com/5050 for tickets.
Jays Care did a terrific job during the COVID crisis, helping out a lot of families.
Bottom of the 2nd, Dan Shulman to Buck Martinez, Hazel May, no score. Jays and Rays. Manuel Margot in right field today for Tampa Bay. Leads it off against Matt Shoemaker. And a weak pop-up into shallow left. Bo Bichette calling everybody off for out number 1.
Boy, these 2 pitchers are like a mirror image of one another. The way they get those hitters out on the front foot. Margot tapping his left hip, said, hey, man, you got to stay back against Matt Shoemaker. You don't have to commit and go out and get that fastball, because it's not going to be 95. Kevin Kiermaier, he's faced Shoemaker a lot. He's just 1 for 10 in his career.
Showing bunt and takes a strike up near the belt. Got the attention of Espinal at 3rd. You can see it's not a full shift, and Espinal still in even with the bag. But Kiermaier's got so much speed, it doesn't have to be a perfect bunt for him to beat it out. You know, this is where, if you're a glass half full kind of Blue Jays fan, you look at the team and you say, boy, the starting pitching's got a chance to be pretty good. They didn't have Hyun-Jin Ryu last year. They only had Matt Shoemaker for 5 starts. They didn't have Tanner Roark. They didn't have Chase Anderson. They didn't really have Ryan Borucki. He only pitched twice because he was out almost the entire season. And of course they didn't have Nate Pearson, who's going to be a Blue Jay pretty soon. It's a complete overhaul, other than Trent Thornton, of the rotation. And I mean, if guys are healthy, there's depth, different looks. There's the potential to be a pretty good starting rotation.
Yeah, and they had to go through a complete overhaul. The pitching staff last year was terrible. The most wins any pitcher had was 6. First time in American League franchise history that a team didn't win 7 games in a regular season. You see the innings pitched leader was Trent Thornton, the rookie, throwing 154 1/3. Then Marcus Stroman was traded at the trade deadline. Sanchez got hurt. Sam Gaviglio pitching out of the bullpen, pitched 95 2/3 innings.
Chopper charging Espinal, and he gets him by a step. And worth mentioning again, third base would probably be the 3rd or 4th most familiar position for Santiago Espinal. He's played more second and short than anything else. But one of the reasons he's on the team is wherever they tell him to play, he'll go and give it his best.
Yeah, he made a nice play of that, unloading in a hurry, recognizing the speed. You can see him look into the dugout, the Louis Rivera, make sure he's in the right defensive setup to start this at bat.
2 down, bases empty. No score, Willie Adames. And another thing about Espinal, he might not have made the team if Brandon Drury had been healthy. Drury is on the injured list with undisclosed reasons. And Espinal, like Drury, a right-handed batter, both play a lot of different positions. It would have been easy if Drury had been healthy. He's on the team, and Espinal is on the taxi squad or the alternate player pool. But with Drury out, they had a need. And the question is, can Espinal do enough in the next week, 2, 3, however long he's here to say to people he deserves to be here no matter what happens.
Yeah, and I think, as we mentioned earlier, the biggest surprise was the way he handled the bat, both in spring training and in summer camp.
One ball, 2 strikes. Shoemaker shaking off McGuire a couple of times. Wanted the slider, fouled off, still 1-2.
Yeah, that slider wasn't exactly where he wanted to throw it. Adames has got some pop. 20 home runs a year ago, along with 25 doubles. A terrific young shortstop. And the Rays, they are deep in middle infielders. Their top prospect, Wander Franco, is a shortstop.
And a teenager.
And really good.
Yeah. If the Rays farm system is as good as the experts say it is, the Rays aren't going anywhere. They're going to keep doing things the way that they do them, and they'll be a team to be reckoned with in the coming years.
Shoemaker has thrown 25 pitches. He's been pitching ahead early in this ball game, throwing strike 1. Reached back for a little extra there, but pulled it off the plate outside.
When he's on, he's very efficient, and he appears to be pretty stretched out. It looked that way in the starts that he was making at summer camp at Rogers Center. He looks like if things are going well, he's fully capable of going 90 to 100 pitches. And another pop-up. McGuire wants it. He's got backup in case he needs it, but he will take it himself. Tricky place, the drop. But a nice play by Reese McGuire as the Rays go in order. Santiago Espinal due up second will get his first big league at bat. You want to see the Blue Jays, the Raptors, or every game of the Stanley Cup playoffs? Only Sportsnet has it all. Check sportsnet.ca/schedule for up-to-date time and channel details. Blue Jays down in Florida to kick off the regular season. Took the opener last night 6-4. Scoreless here going to the top of the 3rd. They'll wrap it up tomorrow before heading up to Washington, D.C. for some games with the Nationals. You're looking at Santiago Espinal on deck right now and moments away from his first major league at bat. Reese McGuire is going to lead it off. McGuire in there today, bit of a day game after night game. Also, Yarbrough's a reverse splits guy, meaning he actually gets hit harder by lefties than righties. So Reese getting a chance to catch today. Got to believe Danny Jansen's back in there tomorrow with Blake Snell scheduled to start for Tampa Bay. Although if that just made Blue Jay fans kind of break out in a cold sweat, we should say Blake Snell doesn't appear to be right now. He pitched in an intra-squad game Tuesday, only went a couple of innings. Walked 4 or 5, bounced a bunch of pitches, and Kevin Cash said they don't expect too much distance out of him tomorrow as McGuire grounds out.
Now Cash was mentioning in his pregame maybe 2-3 innings, and that was all they expect from Blake Snell. McGuire tapped down another off-speed pitch by Yarbrough, and he had him out in front. And here's the first big league at bat for young Santiago Espinal.
25 years of age. Blue Jays got him a couple of years ago from the Red Sox in the Steve Pearce deal. 1-for-1 trade. He's from the Dominican Republic. Spent last year at AA and AAA. You can see the combined numbers there. And has carried the reputation of the more you watch him, the more you like him. The more you realize how many different things he does pretty well. Heart's got to be pumping right now.
Espinal was born in the Dominican, grew up in Miami. at the high school in Longwood, Florida, and went to Miami-Dade Junior College in Miami. Played a season in junior college where he hit .432.
Wow.
Good take. I can remember my first big league at bat. They put me in as a pinch hitter late in the game against Oakland, and I just was walking on clouds. It was like, what am I doing?
Do you remember, did you take the first pitch?
Oh, no, I think I swung at the first pitch, yeah. Ended up flying out to center field. That's a borderline strike for sure.
Well, I said his heart's got to be pumping, but he looks pretty calm, and he's taken 2 borderline pitches. One got called a ball, one got called a strike.
And a good hack at that pitch. Espinal hit .313 in the Carolina League in 2018, and he's had some upside with the bat last year in 28 games in Buffalo, hit .317. But he really opened up some eyes back in spring training originally, and then he carried that right into summer camp.
He got a chance in the intra-squad games in summer camp to play all over the field. He was out there all the time. Swing and a miss, and he strikes out in his first big league at bat.
First strikeout of the ball game for Yarbrough, and he threw him a fastball, and Espinal just couldn't make contact.
And once through the order, all that Yarbrough has given up is a base hit to Kevin Biggio. He's retired the other 8 guys. Espinal strikes out for the second out. Back to the top of the order now for Bo Bichette.
He runs that cutter off the plate inside. Bo is so quick inside. Can really turn on anybody's fastball. And he keeps his hands back and just uses his hands to get the barrel to that baseball in the inner part of the plate.
And you can see what Yarbrough's trying to do. He missed with his location, but the cutter in, the changeup designed to be down and away. Again, none of the pitches individually is probably sensational, but it's the location and the mix of his pitches that makes him successful.
Yeah, and that's the same for his mound opponent this afternoon, Matt Shoemaker. It's all about pitching. In and out, up and down, changing speeds.
Popped up. Will it stay in play? Diaz won't have a play.
To give you an idea how effective this style of pitching is, how about Kyle Hendricks last night? 9 innings, 3 hits, a complete game in his first start of the season. Hendricks pitching for the Cubs, of course, was thrilled to get the opening day start. Yu Darvish is on that team, and David Ross, the first-year manager, said, you know what, Kyle Hendricks is going to be my opening day pitcher. And boy, did he respond.
And he doesn't even throw as hard as Yarbrough throws, really. He's usually 86, 87 with his fastball, but just a terrific changeup. There were some good pitching performances last night. Shane Bieber struck out 14 in 6 innings for Cleveland.
Boy, he was dealing.
Yeah, he's the real deal.
Yeah, everything
he's legit.
he threw was on the corner. Then he'd elevate a fastball. Hitters were late. It was no contest.
They've still got pitching there in Cleveland. They'll still be a force to be reckoned with in the division. Minnesota's obviously very good. White Sox are coming. Good young team. Bichette pulls one down to third, reaching for that changeup down and away, and he grounds out, and that's now 8 in a row set down by Yarbrough. Still no score.
Our Shai Davidi wrote about the heartbreak Espinal is feeling not being able to personally share this moment with his most trusted supporter. Espinal's mother, Ingrid, died last December of an undisclosed disease. The night Montoyo told him he made the team, Espinal said, I started crying thinking about it, but I was so happy because my mom can see me right now. She's watching me right now, and it was so amazing to know that I'm here and making my mama proud. This is certainly a bittersweet day for the talented young Dominican. Dan.
Absolutely, Hazel. Thank you very much for that. Espinal in his major league debut, and I'm sure spent a little bit or a lot of time earlier today thinking about his mom before he took the field.
No, what a great picture, and certainly an opportunity missed for him to be able to call his family and say, hey, I'm going to the big leagues. But I'm sure he's got his mom on his mind this afternoon.
Matt Shoemaker's been sharp in the first 2 innings so far today. No scores. We go to the bottom of the third. Number 9 hitter for the Rays is their catcher this afternoon, Michael Perez, who has been up and down with the Rays, has played sparingly with them each of the last 2 years. Has spent most of his time at AAA. Known for his arm more than his bat. Right on the outside corner. Good pitch by Shoemaker. 1-1. So as we mentioned, it'll be Blake Snell for the Rays tomorrow afternoon, and Charlie Montoyo said before the game today that if they don't need him today, that Thomas Hatch will likely start the game tomorrow afternoon for the Blue Jays. And if you haven't been following the team all that closely, maybe over the winter, you're saying Thomas Hatch, this is a name to know. They got him from the Cubs last year for David Phelps. And he went from the Cubs AA team to the Blue Jays AA team and was fantastic for his 6 starts. Pete Walker has raved about him. And it feels like, and Joe Siddall beat us to this story, stole our thunder on the pregame show. It feels like what they're going to do is maybe start Hatch, then bring in Anthony Kay for some bulk innings in the middle. The thinking being, Buck, you start with a righty. Kevin Cash has all those left-handed bats in there. Then after a couple of innings, you go to Anthony Kay, and you force Cash into some decisions. Do I pinch hit for this guy, and this guy? Because if I do, then all my lefties will be gone by the time Ken Giles gets into the game later on, if things are going well for the Blue Jays. 3-2 lifted in the air to right field. Hernandez with room. Let's get an update with Jamie.
Dan, Edwin Encarnacion has now hit home runs in the big leagues for 6 different teams. This one helps the Chicago White Sox to a 5-0 advantage over the Twins.
Jamie, thank you. Mentioned the White Sox. You talk about good young players. Yoan Moncada and Luis Robert, center fielder, had a couple of hits in his debut last night. They're a team to keep an eye on. But back to tomorrow. So Charlie Montoyo's got his plan, and Kevin Cash will have to adjust, and both managers have the kinds of rosters they can do that with. But what can you tell people about Thomas Hatch?
No, I love Thomas Hatch. He's a 4-pitch starter that throws nothing but strikes. Last year he finished up in Double-A, and he walked 2 batters while pitching for New Hampshire. I mean, that's how many strikes he throws. He just doesn't walk anybody. And if Shoemaker can pitch 4 or 5 innings there, I think they'll get beyond Hatch, and he will start tomorrow. It just depends, but he's available down in that pen. But as Charlie said, if he doesn't pitch today, he'll start tomorrow.
Down to first, picked by Shaw to the bag himself, 2 down. And that's a good point you make. Later on, if things are going well with the Jays, close game, they've got a lead. Romano, Bass, Dolis, Giles, can any or all of them contribute today? And if not, then are you looking at like a Sam Gaviglio, A.J. Cole, or maybe a Thomas Hatch, which can change the plans for tomorrow?
Yeah, I would think Anthony Bass is a lot to pitch if they need him today. Threw 17 pitches yesterday. Romano threw 21 pitches. Dolis threw 27 and really kind of struggled, but Pete Walker will check in with those guys that pitched yesterday while they throw today, and then see if they're available. Kind of an individual thing. Pitchers will go out, throw, see how they feel, see how they rebound, and then they'll report to the pitching coach, who will pass the information on to the manager.
You can see the shift is on against Brandon Lau with 2 down here in the bottom of the third. Good changeup.
Well, I tell you what, if you like pitching, you've tuned into the right game today, because both of these guys can pitch. Shoemaker will throw a split change and a fork ball, and he just makes you think about so many different pitches. You never have a real confident pass at him when you're up at the plate. Missed with that fastball downstairs. He turns the ball over. I mean, he's a guy that you really root for. Not drafted out of college. Signed as an undrafted free agent with the Angels. He went 16-4 early in his career in Anaheim, and then dealt with some difficult injuries. Got hit in the head by a line drive off the bat of Kyle Seager. Had emergency brain surgery. Had a forearm injury that nobody could detect and nobody could give him a right diagnosis. But he's one of those guys that never complains about anything. He's always thankful for the opportunity to be playing big league baseball.
And remember, after the knee injury last year, he kept showing up in Toronto, kept coming back and hanging out with guys he'd only spent a few weeks with because it was his first year as a Blue Jay. I think that gets you a lot of equity in that clubhouse when you keep flying back into the city to be a teammate.
He's a tremendous teammate and a great mentor for a lot of these young Blue Jays.
Right there, strike 3 called, and Lau knew it. Yarbrough and Shoemaker trading zeros in the early going. Kevin Biggio is going to lead it off. Is presented by Rogers, calling all Blue Jays fans. Cheer on your Toronto Blue Jays from across the country by video recording your well wishes. Tag at Blue Jays in your post or use hashtag #WeAreBlueJays, and your video could be shared on the Blue Jays social channels. Along with Buck Martinez, Hazel May, I'm Dan Schulman. The good pitcher stool so far between Ryan Yarbrough and Matt Shoemaker. No score going to the 4th inning. The Blue Jays have 1 hit. The Rays have 2. The 1 hit for the Blue Jays belongs to the guy in the batter's box right now, Kevin Biggio. Had a solid line drive single to center his first time up. And again is seeing the 4-man outfield.
Johnny Montoyo talked about the bunt that Biggio had in the 4th inning to start that 3-run rally being the turning point in the ball game yesterday. And Kevin, in talking about that bunt, said, I was just trying to bunt it hard at the second baseman, make him make the play, but the first baseman fielding, and he beat the pitcher to first base. That started the rally that got the Blue Jays on the board. 3 runs on 3 hits, including a couple sacrifice flies. That was a terrific offensive inning for the Blue Jays.
Pretty unusual alignment, even by today's standards, even by Rays standards, but they're never ones to shy away from trying something different. And it's all backed up by the numbers. Here's where their numbers say Biggio hits the ball most frequently, least frequently. But then it's up to you to try to counter that, I guess, right? Or, I mean, some people say, hey, just do your thing. Don't change your swing. Don't change your mindset. And other people say, yeah, try to counter it. You hit it hard, you get some base hits, and he's 2 for 2 today.
Yeah, and you can't stop that. That was a line drive right into the shift into right field. His 2 for 2 had a couple of hits in his season debut yesterday. And you can see how the defense expects him to pull it on the ground. The outfield is basically straight away, all 4 of them. But he beats the shift and picks up his 2nd hit, and here we go again. 4th inning start created by Biggio.
And here's Gurriel, his 2nd at bat, lifted a towering fly ball just shy of the warning track in left field his first time up. Charlie Montoyo said before the game they'll see how Gurriel feels after the game today, whether he's in there tomorrow and whether he's in there in left field or as a DH. No play at 2nd, so they'll take the out at first.
Yeah, bouncing ball. Adames made the decision, hey, I'm not going to try to turn 2 on this ball. Biggio gets a good break. High bouncing ball to shortstop, and Adames goes to first base. They may have had a shot at 2nd. I don't know if they were going to turn 2. Wenda was there at the bag, but they took the sure out at first.
So a runner in scoring position for the first time today for the Blue Jays. 1 down, and here's Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Grounded out his first time up against Yarbrough.
You try to stay back against Yarbrough and even a pitch that's 84 miles an hour. He was late on. Adames and Wendell up the middle, pretty good double play combination. Wendell made 34 starts and did not commit an error last year at 2nd.
To center field, but carrying out to Kiermaier for out number 2.
Take on any project with Home Hardware, proud partner of the Toronto Blue Jays. Here's how.
No score here in the top of the 4th inning between the Rays and the Blue Jays in the middle game of a 3-game series. Game 2 of 60 here in the 2020 season. You're looking at Cavan Biggio out at second with 2 down, and here's Travis Shaw. Grounded out his first time up. Shaw's a guy who at times has not hit lefties well. At times he's actually had better numbers against lefties. You can say the same for Rowdy Tellez, who is not in the lineup today. Slower breaking ball in there for a called strike.
And of course, Travis Shaw is trying to bounce back. Last year had 4 different stints with the Brewers, back and forth to the minors. Played in AAA San Antonio for 42 games. It's a humbling experience. We saw him in the pregame just before the players went out to run, and he had a whole bunch of young Blue Jays around him. They were chatting up each other about the game, about Yarbrough, how we're going to approach this guy. But he's a veteran in his first year. But Dan, I think because of the time they all spent together at Rogers Center most recently, this team had a chance to really bond.
Yeah. We were sitting here in the studio watching on the monitor that we see the game on before the game, a shot of the dugout with 5 Blue Jay players just sitting there and chatting about 15 minutes before the game. Shaw was there, Grichuk was there, and then it was Bichette, Biggio, and Guerrero. So you had some veteran guys and you had the younger guys. And every time that we get one of these Zoom interviews with a player before or after the game and a question is asked about the bonding of the team, like they jump on the answer. They said, listen, they brought us in a ping pong table. They set up a room for us at Rogers Center so we could hang out together from a distance, obviously. But no team has had the kind of experience that the Blue Jays have had. And in some ways it's been more difficult, and obviously, and in some ways maybe they can turn it into a positive.
Yeah, it's been beneficial because a lot of them referred to it like playing college baseball. We were together all the time, and all we had to do is play video games or talk baseball.
Hey.
Pretty good experience for the younger players for sure. Michael Perez and Yarbrough can't get on the same page. I think Yarbrough recognized that Shaw sat on that last pitch pretty well, the breaking ball, and he was able to foul it off, and he's got a pitch on his mind that Perez didn't offer.
This is what we were talking about, the shot before the game of those 5 guys just talking baseball, and you'll see this all the time. And you know, every team's got friends and groups and all that, but boy, the Blue Jays have gone out of their way to talk about how close they have become as a team.
Yeah, and of course a lot of the young guys came through the minors together, but now they're mixing it with the veterans. It's a good mix. Let's see what Yarbrough came up with for Shaw.
And Biggio, they tried to pick him off at second, but the throw a little bit errant off the glove of Lau, and Cavan dives back safely into second base. And again, we're not always sure what you can hear at home, but boy, with no fans in the stands, you could hear the yelling on the infield that Biggio was trying to steal third, and that's why Yarbrough stepped off and then threw back to second.
Yeah, and he was going to make a throw to third, but Biggio had already stopped, and had he come to second right off the bat, he'd have got him easily. But Adames and Biggio collide. That ball was off Adames's glove. Remember, Cavan has never been caught stealing. He's 14 for 14 to start his young career. He's got a great knack for understanding the timing the pitcher has fallen into. He had a pretty good jump right there, but Yarbrough was pretty keen on keeping an eye on him, as he is now.
1-2. Change up, down and away in the dirt. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
For me, this is the added value of a guy that steals bases. You got a threat to steal base at second base. You got a left-handed hitter at the mound. The last 2 pitches haven't been close because he's thinking about Cavan Biggio. He's thinking about, oh, is he going to try to steal here with 2 outs? And it has been a distraction for Yarbrough, and he's missed badly with his last 2 pitches. I just think baseball in general has discounted the impact of a stolen base overall. It's just the 90 feet that is an issue. It's the thought you put in the pitcher's mind.
And
Shaw's
thinking
staying
about
on that breaking ball pretty well.
Thinking about stealing third with 2 outs. That doesn't happen very often. That's clearly Biggio just reading the play and doing it on his own. That's not coming from the dugout.
No, and two, you really see where the third baseman is. Because with a left-handed hitter, he's a little bit shaded off the bag. Can I beat the third baseman to the bag? Shortstop's not really holding me on. I've got an opportunity to get a big lead. Yarbrough hasn't paid attention to me. All those things he's factoring in to his decision whether to run or not. And then you say, well, what's the big deal stealing third base with 2 outs? Hey, you put pressure on the defense. A little ground ball in the hole. Can't make a play. You score a run.
The 2-2. Inside, and Shaw has worked it back to a full count.
Boy, he's had a good at-bat. He's been able to foul off a couple sweeping breaking balls and takes a tough pitch inside, but it's clearly off the plate. Bet you throws him a breaking ball here, and he's been all over it.
Randall Grichuk waiting on deck, hoping for an opportunity here in the top of the 4th as the Blue Jays try to cash in the first run of the ball game. The 3-2. Well, he's earned himself a walk, battled back from an 0-2 count to take his base.
Well, what a good at-bat. Just the ability to foul off those breaking balls earlier in the at-bat. Yarbrough not wanting to give in to Shaw, bounced the breaking ball in the dirt, and that'll give Grichuk an opportunity to face the lefty with 2 on. Good at-bat by Travis.
So now an opportunity for Randall Grichuk with a couple of men aboard and 2 down here in the 4th inning. Grichuk flied out to center his first time up. Foul ball. If you were a right-handed batter, you were a right-handed batter. If you're a right-handed batter facing this kind of guy, you know he wants to come in with that cutter. Do you even back up like an inch off the plate, so little that the catcher may not see it? Do you need a little bit more room?
Yeah, you can do that, and it's really interesting when you have a pitcher like this. It feels like he's crowding you, and you're right. If you back up a couple of inches where it's not really noticeable, you give yourself a little more freedom inside. They got a pitch to hit right there, but you can see took a little bit off. 84, a little bit of movement on it. Here's where Randall's really got to grind. Got a chance to drive in the first run of the game. He's down 0-2. Be a tough out.
Couple of men on with 2 down here in the 4th inning. Well, that time the catcher Perez made it look like it was going to be a cutter up and in, but it was a changeup in the dirt, as if they're thinking Biggio's relaying location or something, or maybe just hoping Grichuk with his peripheral vision might see the target.
Yeah, you can sense when a catcher slides inside once in a while. I think that's what Perez was trying to do. Say, you know what, I'm going to move inside, and oftentimes just see a catcher pound their glove with their fist inside and then move to the outside corner.
Making Yarbrough work, if nothing else, here in the 4th inning. Up the middle, slowed down by Yarbrough, and everybody's going to be safe. So the bases are loaded with 2 down.
Well, that was a good job by Randall Grichuk just to shorten up. He was in the hole 0-2, took a tough pitch down, and then is able to get the bat on the ball. Short stroke, just trying to get a knock up the middle. Yarbrough deflects it in a perfect spot for Grichuk. Nobody can make a play on it. That ball's off the plate, and Yarbrough just kind of waved at it. Goes off his glove, and that's going to be an infield hit for Randall Grichuk.
So the bases are loaded with 2 down, and now an opportunity for Teoscar Hernandez. Went around. Again, that cutter in. Looks like it's going to be out over the plate, and by the time it gets to you, it's right in on your hands.
And it's not that hard. It's 84 miles an hour, but there's a little late movement that just takes it from the barrel of your bat down around the label of your bat. You see it out over the plate, and then it just disappears inside.
Second baseman Wendell's gone around to the shortstop side of the bag. Shift on against Hernandez. In on his hands and a fly ball to center field, but couldn't get enough of it. Kiermaier is there, and the Blue Jays will threaten but do not score in the fourth. All baseball games. We are here at the Sportsnet studio, calling the game actually out of the Tim and Sid studio. And if you're wondering what our situation is like, this is what it's like. We've got the most unbelievable bank of monitors in front of us, allowing us to see the games. The main monitor, the big one there, is where we watch the game, and then we've got all these other monitors off with cameras on the bullpens and the defense, so we can see if the shift is on, looking into the Blue Jay dugout to see what's going on there. And we've decided we're actually just going to live here for the next 10 weeks and just watch all sports here.
Be careful what you wish for. We got Scott Carson in the studio as well to help us with the stats, and yeah, it's not that bad. It's really pretty comfortable. And of course, Troy Clare, the director, and Doug Walton, the producer, do a great job of helping us out through all of this.
Yeah, this would be extremely difficult were it not for the work that everybody on the crew put into making this as comfortable for us as possible. Like even a play like when Cavan Biggio's trying to steal third. There are some things that if you're not sitting at a ballpark, just going to be a little bit tougher to see. It'll take you a second, but they've given us every toy, every bell and whistle you could ask for to try to make it feel like we're in the ballpark as much as possible.
That's a pretty good pitch. Shoemaker didn't get the call. He couldn't believe it. Boy, he made a great pitch on Yandy Diaz and did not get the call on that breaking ball. Mace McGuire is actually catching Shoemaker for the first time in a big league game. Shoemaker only made 5 starts last year because of that knee injury. You know, McGuire and Shoemaker have done a terrific job in this first opportunity to work together, and that hit him.
So Diaz aboard to begin the bottom of the fourth for the Rays.
Yandy Diaz had a base hit his first time up to right center. And he's watching the third base coach right now as he gets to first base.
Yoshi Tsutsugo up for the second time, popped up his first time up. He's the DH today after playing third last night. Will also play left field for the Rays. If you're a Tampa Bay Ray, like, you don't walk into the clubhouse and assume you know what the lineup is going to be. You got to check the scorecard.
Yeah, you sure do. And not only that, as far as if you're in the lineup, where you're playing, where you're batting in the batting order. Kevin Cash mixes it up almost daily, depending on the opposing pitcher, depending on how you hit that type of pitcher.
You knew Kevin when he was younger. Did you think he was going to turn into a major league manager? Is that something you saw for him?
Yeah, I thought he was going to be a terrific major league catcher. I had him in spring training in 2002 as a young catcher. We brought him into camp, and he could really catch and throw at that time. I wanted to take him on the opening day roster. I thought he was that good. He had a great spring for us with the bat. Mike Barnett was the hitting coach then, and he did a great job with Kevin. And of course, Charlie Montoya was on Kevin Cash's coaching staff for 4 years, and they have become great friends.
Yeah, Charlie still keeps in touch all the time with Kevin Cash and also with Rocco Baldelli, who is also on the Tampa Bay staff, who's now the manager of Minnesota, of course. Biggio to Bichette, on to Shaw in time for the 4-6-3 double play.
Taylor-made double play right there. Boy, they had this defense set up perfectly, and Tsutsugo was a little bit out in front of this ball, but hits a tailor-made double play ball to Biggio. To Bichette. I mean, that's academic, man. That's beautiful.
Good feed by Biggio to get it started. 2 down and the bases empty now in the bottom of the fourth. Good efficiency, too, from Shoemaker. 49 pitches through 3 2/3. There's Joey Wendell, lined out to third, his first time up.
Shoemaker's been filling up the strike zone. These are the kind of pitchers you'll take an 0 for 4 and say, I'll get you next time. You don't throw that good. You're lucky. No, he's not lucky. He can pitch.
And another bouncer, Shaw, Shoemaker, and the inning is over. No score at the end of 4 between the Rays and the Jays. Time now for a Blue Jays Central update. Here are Jamie and Joe in the Samsung studio.
Dan, welcome to the Samsung studio. Capture everyday extraordinary moments with the Galaxy S20 Series 5G. And where Yarbrough is concerned, we've seen 2 good pitching performances to date through 4 innings. The Blue Jay hitters essentially have to pick between 2 pitches, don't they?
He's got a good cutter that he runs in on the right-handers. He's got a fantastic changeup that dives down and away. It's hard to cover both. And you see what Ryan Yarbrough has been doing. There's a cutter in on the hands of Bo Bichette back in his first at-bat. It's hard to cover both, so you almost have to look for one or the other. There's another cutter just in enough where you can see Gurriel gets tied up and bounces it weakly to short. There's the changeup away now. Good swing by Grichuk, but you look, maybe he's looking cutter in there and swings at the changeup. Another good changeup down and away, so take your pick 2 times through the lineup. They need to find a way to get to him.
Interesting matchup so far. We're back to Dan and Buck with the resumption of the game right after this.
Just a week away, the Raptors will take on the Lakers in the first of their 8 late regular season / tune-up games for the playoffs, and you can see it right here on Sportsnet, 8 o'clock Eastern Time, 5 o'clock Pacific Time.
That's one of the most beautiful bridges in North America, the Sunshine Skyway over the mouth of Tampa Bay. That connects St. Petersburg to Bradenton, and it's a beautiful bridge. You see that section of bridge on the right? That's the old bridge.
People go fishing off the old bridge now.
Yeah,
right? Yep.
But it actually was hit by a barge that had broken loose and collapsed into the bay many years ago.
Here's Reese McGuire. I'll tell you, if you're afraid of heights, when you go over that bridge,
windy
or
conditions.
wind, or if you're afraid of anything, you drive in the left lane when you go over the bridge, the inside lane. Even if you're not supposed to be there because you're not going quickly enough, you drive in the left lane. Not saying that's what I do, but you drive in the left lane. McGuire with a weak ground ball to second. A little bit awkward over at first, but they'll get the out, 1 down.
Do you like these kinds of games?
Yes.
Pitching games,
Yes.
pitching duels.
Yes.
I love them.
Yeah.
I mean, every pitch is so important. Every pitch is impactful. Scoreless game. There have only been 5 hits in the game. I mentioned that I thought that Diaz was hit by a pitch from Shoemaker. It was actually ball 4, inside pitch, and Shoemaker has been terrific. You can see he's locked in.
Braves and Mets had one of these games yesterday. Mike Soroka, Jacob deGrom, the only run of the game on a Yoenis Cespedes home run. Fly ball deep, but foul down the left field line off the bat of Santiago Espinal, getting his 2nd major league at bat. These aren't flamethrowers. Like, it's not like there are a couple of deGroms out there today, and Yarbrough and Shoemaker, but they're both pitching an outstanding game.
And for me, that's the beauty of baseball, because there's so many different ways to get batters out, and we're seeing a great example of finesse pitching here this afternoon between both of these starters.
Change up, down and away, swing and a miss, 0-2. You know, you're playing in your first big league game. You'd probably rather just have a guy who's going to bring the heat at you. You know what you're going to get, even if it's a really good fastball. You probably got some nerves going, and now you're having to play chess, a mind game with Yarbrough, trying to figure out what he's going to throw.
Yeah, and the biggest thing you can do and put yourself in the best possible position to succeed is say, wait till he throws it, see the ball, and hit the ball. Don't try to outthink him. Yarbrough, this is his 3rd season in big leagues. I mean, he's not a real veteran pitcher, but he's been very successful with 27 big league wins.
to right field. Going towards the corner, Margot, and he'll make the catch in foul territory deep in the corner for out number 2. Well, the reason Tampa Bay has been good is their pitching has been good. They led the American League in ERA last year at 3.65, and that was with a lot of injuries and using openers and matching up and that sort of thing. But they find guys who all have different looks, different strengths. They play the matchups more than any other team in baseball, and the numbers bear out how successful they've been.
How many good baseball fans would not know that fact? A lot of people would assume it was Houston with Verlander, Greinke, Cole. You say, well, they got to lead the league in ERA. No, Tampa Bay. They can really pitch, man. We have not seen Bo Bichette take too many funky swings in his young big league career, but last time up, Yarbrough got him to roll over on a changeup, a little tapper to third. But this is his third look at Yarbrough this afternoon.
Bo is outstanding when he gets in a hole at sitting back and hitting the ball hard to the opposite field. And you're right, we both looked at each other after he rolled over on that ground ball as if to say, I haven't seen him do that before. But Yarbrough's got his timing all messed up.
And Bichette's not the only one.
Yep.
Blue Jays have 3 hits, and the left-handed hitting Cavan Biggio has 2 of them.
Rounder to third. Nicely picked by Diaz, and it's a 3-up, 3-down. Top of the 5th. Still no score. Baseball is back, and the MLB app is the place to get all your baseball action. In-game video highlights, live pitch-by-pitch, breaking news, player updates, stat leaderboard standings, and much more. Download the MLB app today, the #1 app for live baseball. Second game of a 60-game season. Blue Jays and Rays, Dan Shulman, Buck Martinez, Hazel May. All here with the Sportsnet studios in Toronto. Jamie Campbell, Joe Siddle, of course, bringing you Blue Jays Central pre, post, and during as well. Blue Jays are down in Florida and in a scoreless battle right now. Ryan Yarbrough and Matt Shoemaker both pitching extremely well, with Emmanuel Margot leading off the bottom of the 5th for the Rays. Well, the deeper Shoemaker can get into the game, the more efficient he can be. Because Romano and Bass and Dolis and Giles all pitched yesterday, some of them, as we mentioned earlier, may be unavailable. We don't know. They all threw somewhere between 17 and 27 pitches. But the deeper that Shoemaker can get, the easier the decisions will be for Charlie Montoyo and Pete Walker.
And absolutely, there's no reason whatsoever to even think about your bullpen right now. Shoemaker's in such good shape with his pitch count.
Great sweeping slider there to get Margot. Second strikeout of the afternoon for Shoemaker.
Boy, he can do so many different things with the baseball, and his sweeping breaking ball, watch how it breaks down and away. Just continues to break. It starts out on the plate and breaks all the way into the other's batter's box. And Margot is fooled badly on that big breaking ball.
Here's Kiermaier. And the Rays swings have been as funky at times as the Blue Jays swings have been today. Driven to left field. Feeling for the wall. Gurriel will make the play. Out number 2.
Now, Gurriel was playing deep in the outfield, and you know, he made 60 starts in left field last year after moving from second base, and he looked really comfortable. You can see how deep he is to start, not wanting to give up an extra base hit here in the 5th inning in a scoreless game. So he gets back to the wall. Kiermaier thought he might have gotten enough of it to hit it out of the ballpark. Not the case.
2 quick outs here in the bottom of the 5th. Here's Willy Adames. You know, the way Gurriel looked and kind of signaled something to Grichuk in center makes me think almost that Randall was yelling, "You've got room, you've got room." And it looked like Gurriel was thanking Randall the way that he looked and pointed at him. And of course, with no fans, all these things are a lot easier to hear, even though there is some pumped-in crowd noise. But I think Grichuk may have let Gurriel know that he wasn't going to run into the wall.
And you know what players will tell one another? You're okay, you're okay, you're okay. And without any crowd, of course, you could hear that easily. You got room. And you're right, Gurriel acknowledged that. Good job by Randall. He's the quarterback in the outfield. There's no question about that, the center fielder.
Boy, there's a ton of break on that slider from Matt Shoemaker. Looks like it's going to be near the outside corner. Winds up about a foot outside.
Yeah, that's that old side-on breaking ball that just keeps breaking away from those right-handed hitters.
Got him. Another good inning for Matt Shoemaker, who is dealing today. 5 scoreless innings and still no score in this game. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership. Lots of zeros, nothing across for either team so far as we move into the 6th inning. Jays and Rays at Tropicana Field. 2-3-4 coming up for the Blue Jays. Biggio, Gurriel, and Guerrero against Ryan Yarbrough, who's been as effective as Matt Shoemaker has been in this game.
This 3rd time through the batting order, and that's generally a good gauge for managers how a pitcher is faring against the lineup for a 3rd time. Kevin Biggio has come up with a couple of base hits each of his first 2 at-bats. And again, you see the defensive alignment. 4 outfielders. Basically 5 outfielders, if you want to call Wendell there at second base. He's in the outfield as well.
Another well-hit ball, right center field. But on the warning track, Margot will make a basket catch on the play. And you can see him telling Kiermaier, man, that kind of dipped on me at the last second there.
Well, he is a good outfielder. He's a natural center fielder. You can see looking up into the roof here at Tropicana Field, and this ball fooled him a little bit, but he's able to make a Willie Mays style basket catch out there in right field for the first out of the inning. And you can see Yarbrough say, ooh, that was a close one. Not that it was going to go out of the ballpark, but that he caught it.
Here's Lourdes Gurriel Jr. 0 for 2 and a fly out and a ground out.
I love these games where the pitcher is pitching with a 83, 84 mile an hour cutter. There you get an idea about what the outfielders are dealing with in that lightly colored roof here at Tropicana Field. And the baseballs are basically the same color as that roof. And they rub up the baseballs with that clay, put a little gray tint on them, and then you look up into the roof. It's hard to find the baseball.
Yep, used to have the same thing at the old Metrodome where the Twins played. Boy, that place was an adventure. Hook to left field. And a trap. Looked like Lau had it in his glove, and then it squirted out of his glove, and Gurriel's got himself a base hit.
Brandon Lau only made 2 starts in left field. You can see he was shaded over in the alley in left center, had a long run, looked like he had his glove underneath it, but when he hit the turf, his glove got tucked underneath his body. It's clearly in the pocket, but you can see it works its way out of the webbing once he hits the ground. He didn't have control of it. And that's going to do it for Yarbrough.
Chaz Rowe coming into the game for the Rays. No score here in the 6th. Pitcher for the Rays, Chaz Rowe. As you can see, 71 appearances a year ago. ERA just over 4. He's a big, tall righty known for his slider. He will throw his slider to right-handed batters about as often as any pitcher in baseball. He's coming in to face a part of the Blue Jay lineup where 3 of the next 4 hitters are right-handed batters, beginning with Vladimir Guerrero Jr.
It's a big sweeping slider, and that one got away from him at 78. Chaz Rowe over the last 3 seasons has thrown 58% sliders. So I guess you better look for a slider.
And it's a part of the lineup where if you're Kevin Cash, you know Charlie Montoyo's not going to pinch hit for Vladdy. He's not going to pinch hit for Grichuk or Hernandez 2 or 3 spots away. So you know Rowe's going to get a chance to face some right-handed batters. There's another slider, but that one misses outside, ball 2.
Guerrero's actually 2 for 4 against Chad Rowe, going head to head. And there's a familiar face. Former Blue Jay Aaron Loup, who is healthy. He's over his elbow issues, and he has had a great spring in camp, and he has made this roster.
All right, this is going to get interesting in a hurry here with the 3-batter rule that's in baseball as of this season. So Rowe has to face 3 batters.
Yeah.
Or end the inning, whichever comes first. So I don't think, like, Loop's not coming in for several batters. He's just getting up early. But Aaron Loup will have to face 3 batters. And Loup's the kind of guy, like a lot of lefty specialists, who made their living facing almost entirely left-handed batters.
Yeah.
Bring him in for one guy, get him out. Can't do that anymore. So it's a few batters away, but if, you know, just to play armchair manager here, like if Loup came in to face Reese McGuire, you could throw Danny Jansen in there to pinch hit if you want.
Yeah.
And then Loup has to stay and face Espinal and Bichette. Who are both right-handed batters.
That's the challenge of this 3-batter rule. Last year, the Rays bullpen had 32 appearances that wouldn't be allowed this year because they were in and out, giving the opposing lineups a lot of different looks.
I would guess that's the most in the American League anyway.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, they always mixed it up, and you can see all of the hitters getting a close look at Chaz Rowe. They know they're going to get a slider, but what you hope is he leaves one on the inner half.
Travis Shaw waiting on deck for the Blue Jays. 1 on, 1 out, no score. Top of the 6th inning. With Gurriel running, it's a liner into right field for a base hit. And Vladdy aboard, Blue Jays at first and second. And I think Gurriel is giving Vladdy what for, because he almost lined that ball right into him, right at him.
It's the fastball away, and Guerrero does a good job of staying on it. He picks up his 2nd hit of the season. Margot, a tremendous arm, so Gurriel has to jump out of the way of that hard hit ground ball and then turned around and say, hey, Vladdy, hit a little further away from me.
So the Blue Jays with 2 on and 1 out. Little meeting on the mound. Travis Shaw will be the batter.
Kyle Snyder, the very good pitching coach here with the Rays, out to help Rowe with a game plan here in this situation. Chaz Rowe really dominates right-handed hitters with that slider. And last year he actually held lefties to a 227 average, but he didn't face a lot of them.
Shaw today, a ground out and a walk. Blue Jays threatened in the 4th, loaded the bases with 2 out, couldn't score. This is probably the next best opportunity that they've had. 1st and 2nd with just 1 out. Still looking for the first run of the ball game. Hit very hard, but way foul. You think somebody finds that ball after the game?
Oh, somebody
finds that. Yeah, they track down every foul ball that just rattles around in the seats.
Yeah, there's a lot of people who don't have anything else to do.
Did you see where the average team last year said they went through like 60 dozen baseballs, and this year, because of having to sanitize them all to keep everybody safe? There's another one. Well, the same guy can get that ball too.
That one too.
Now this year, teams are estimating they're going to use 150 dozen balls a game. BP in a game. A day. That's 1,800 baseballs a day between batting practice, relievers warming up, the game itself. Because once the baseballs get used, they've got to be sanitized and then I think they have to get stored for like 5 days, right, before you can use them again.
For BP.
Strike 3 called for out number 2.
Boy, that slider broke about 3 feet. Started it off the plate, and Travis just can't pull the trigger. Watch the break on this big sweeping slider all the way across the plate. It starts in the right-handed hitter's batter's box, and that gives you a good idea how tight that spin is on that Chaz Rose slider. Well, he made a good pitch.
So 2 down, and now Rowe will face Randall Grichuk. Had an infield hit his last time up. Slider left over the middle of the plate, sinking liner to center, but a sliding catch made by Kevin Kiermaier, and the Blue Jays are denied again. They'll leave a couple of men on, and Shoemaker heads back out to the mound in this scoreless game.
Took part in his first opening day in the majors last night, less than a 10-minute drive from the place where he was a Lakewood High School standout. Bichette watched plenty of games here at Tropicana Field growing up, but admits he was not a Rays fan. He just showed up to take in a major league ball game. Now, Bichette said he did have butterflies the night before opening day. He told me there was no pep talk from Dad Dante. However, Mom Mariana was a bit upset at not being able to watch her son personally. But Bo said she does understand, Dan, that she's not the only one in that position.
Yeah, unfortunately for Mom, rules are rules, and they cannot be bent or broken at all these days. But that's a tough part. You go on the road and you're near home, whether it's mom, dad, or just friends, cousins, aunts, uncles, grandparents, whatever. You really got to be careful, and everybody's got to understand that the way they conduct themselves can affect not only them but everybody else in the clubhouse as well.
Yeah, and everybody understands that, but you would certainly love, like Bo, he grew up here, saw some games here. His mom and dad were here last year when he played here in September. And you'd like to be able to come out the ballpark, but it's not going to happen, at least for a while.
Matt Shoemaker, just his 62nd pitch of the afternoon as he starts Michael Perez outside ball 1. There's Blake Snell, who will start tomorrow for the Rays. But if you weren't with us, as we mentioned a little bit earlier, is not quite there yet. Did not come back to summer camp as far along, I guess, as he would like or the Rays would like. And Kevin Cash admitted publicly before the game that they're not expecting more than 2 or 3 innings out of Snell tomorrow.
Yeah, he and Tyler Glasnow pitched an inter-squad game here. As you see, Pete Fairbanks, a big hard-throwing right-hander, and we're going to say that a lot whenever we look at the bullpen. A big right-handed, hard-throwing right-hander. They got a lot of them down there. But yeah, Snell and Glasnow, neither one of them were very good their last time out, and just to have good command and throw the breaking balls where they wanted to. So they're not really sure what they're going to get. Glasnow, I think, is going to start on Monday.
That's the funny thing about baseball. You look at the starting pitchers and you say, oh, what a break for the Blue Jays. Snell's not doing well, and they miss Glasnow. And Yarbrough's the guy they end up getting because they're not really lined up the way they'd like to be. And he was terrific today. Didn't give him anything.
Now, they've always had problems with Ryan Yarbrough. He's got a 6-1 career against the Jays.
High in the air to deep right field off the bat of Perez, but it is foul.
You know, we mentioned Michael Perez and the fact that he didn't play an awful lot last year. First they had Mike Zunino, then they went out and got Travis d'Arnaud, so he became basically a guy back and forth on the minor league shuttle.
One of the few ballparks where the bullpens are down the line, so you still have to have somebody out there protecting the catcher as he warms up a relief pitcher.
But Michael Perez has had a lot of success in his young career against the Blue Jays. A .455 career average, just 5 for 11 coming into this game with a home run.
Showed some power a couple of pitches ago, but he pulled it foul. And he walked him.
Beauty Tone is the official paint of the Toronto Blue Jays. Only available at Home Hardware. Here's how.
It is a scoreless game between the Rays and the Blue Jays. Second game of the season. The Jays victorious last night, winning 6-4 down at the Trop, where wins have been so hard for them to come by. Mike Brasso is out as a pinch runner for Michael Perez. With nobody out here in the bottom of the sixth, and back to the top of the order for Ji-Man Choi, the first baseman who has grounded out in each of his 2 at-bats. These expanded rosters early in the season will allow managers to make a few more moves and make some moves a little bit earlier in games than maybe they otherwise would.
Well, I mean, you wonder about taking your catcher out of the game, but Tampa Bay is carrying 3 catchers as we speak, so that's not a concern for Kevin Cash. Remember, Shoemaker's got a good pickoff move, and if they have any thoughts of starting their runner, Brasso can't get a very aggressive lead over at first. Comes right back at him. Blue Jays turned a double play in the 4th inning. A 4-6-3 double play.
Misses low, 1 ball, 1 strike. Nobody is up in the Blue Jay bullpen. Shoemaker has not really been in trouble at all. There were a couple of men on in the first, and that was the most the Rays have had going at any point in this game. Change up, misses down and away, 2 balls and a strike.
There were 3 low-scoring games yesterday. Cleveland beat Kansas City 2-0. Texas beat Colorado 1-0, and the same score in New York. The Mets beat the Braves 1-0. We're seeing another tight ball game here this afternoon.
Well hit ball, left center field. Grichuk racing over, can't get there. Rounding third, Brasso coming home. Bichette's throw to the plate, not in time. And the Rays have taken the lead.
Well, Kevin Cash uses a pinch runner, and he scores all the way from first base. That pitch was up out over the plate, and Choi drove in 63 runs a year ago. You can see it's a 2-seam fastball up in the zone, and he stays on it and splits the outfielders in the gap in left field. Ball bounces up there, and I don't think Grichuk could do anything about this. You can see Brasso, a little bit of a hesitation going into second. He stumbles around third as well, but he's able to stay on his feet and score the first run of the ball game.
And Choi, one of the most popular guys in that Tampa Bay clubhouse, celebrates the first RBI of the afternoon. Tampa Bay now with a 1-0 lead. Brandon Lau is the batter. And A.J. Cole has started throwing in the bullpen for the Blue Jays.
Well, boy, you walk that number 9 hitter, it'll always come back to haunt you. It just encourages the offense so much when that last man in your lineup gets on base to start the inning. Hey, we got him on the ropes now. Turn the lineup over.
Right at the belt for a strike, 1-1. A.J. Cole, a newcomer to the Blue Jays organization this year, has pitched with the Nationals, the Yankees, and last year with Cleveland. And a big guy with a big arm the Blue Jays are pretty high on.
You know, Dan, first start of the season, and I know the pitch count is pretty good at 76 pitches, but it's a lot different in a nothing game. I mean, every pitch has been so crucial for both of these pitchers today that 76 kind of translates into about 95.
Shoemaker gets a call on the outside corner, 2-2.
Well, he got that call because he's been around the plate all afternoon. It looked like it might have been off the plate outside, but Hunter Wendelstedt, the veteran umpire, Gives Shoemaker a good call right there. Nice job by Reese McGuire to give the ump a good look at it.
Got him. Good pitch down and away for the first out. Wow, muttering to himself on his way back to the
Yeah, he's thinking about that second strike. This is a good changeup because they split finger grip. Just enough movement down and away. A terrific pitch in a good spot. Well, Brandon Lau thought that previous pitch might have been off the plate for a ball.
Now Yandy Diaz, who has singled and walked today. Diaz 14 home runs and OPS over 800 a year ago. Finally found his power stroke. Not this time. Ground ball to short. Bichette, can he still get him? Yes, he can.
Boy, you got to wonder if Diaz got out of the box. Didn't look like he got a very good jump out of the batter's box. Bo got ahead of himself a little bit, kind of ran past this ground ball. He committed an error in the game last night and just got a little anxious right here. Watch the hitter. As he busted out of the box, I don't think he got a real good break out of the box. Bo's able to recover and reach back for a little extra. Actually made it easy out over at first. I don't think that Diaz got out of the box in good shape.
So a big second out after that recovery by Bichette, and now the batter is Yoshi Tsutsugo. Shoemaker trying to finish the inning and keep Cole in the bullpen. Got a base open, but another left-handed batter, Joey Wendell, in the on-deck circle for the Rays. Rays were looking to add some power in the offseason, and Tsutsugo is a guy they hope will supply some. Saw that last night. Great play at first. Shaw from the seat of his pants will feed Shoemaker for the third out. What a nice play. Saved a run. Still 1-0 Tampa Bay. Nice outing for Ryan Yarbrough, the starter for the Rays today. 5 1/3 scoreless, 1 walk, 1 strikeout. Gave way to Chaz Rowe, who gave up the base hit, then got the last couple of outs of the 6th. And now as we move to the top of the 7th, with the Rays now leading 1-0. Kevin Cash has gone to his bullpen again, and this will be a much different look for the Blue Jays than what they have seen from Yarbrough and Rowe here with Pete Fairbanks coming into the game.
Fairbanks is 6'6", and he's got a big-time arm. Great fastball, average fastball, 97. He was born in Milwaukee, grew up in St. Louis, went to University of Missouri. The Rangers drafted him in the 9th round in 2015, and he has had 2 Tommy John surgeries.
And can throw 98. You mentioned St. Louis and Missouri. Mike Zunino coming in to catch. He was a Joe Kelly fan. Joe Kelly was with the Cardinals, and he used to watch Kelly, and he said, look how small his arm movement is. He doesn't bring his arm all the way back. It was thought that Fairbanks' mechanics led to the elbow issues, and he looked at Joe Kelly throwing 100 with a very short arm swing, and you can see there his right arm barely comes back at all. And he decided to kind of emulate Joe Kelly, a guy that he liked, and not only is he healthier, but he's throwing harder than he used to throw.
Yeah, and that's something that's going around baseball, that short arm stroke. Trevor Bauer does it in Cincinnati. Joe Musgrove has made the change in Pittsburgh. He's got very much control of his delivery. You can see it's almost thought like an old catcher's throw, where the hand never goes below the belt. It just stays about even with his hip, and then he can get on top and repeat that delivery so frequently and becomes very consistent.
Teoscar Hernandez 0 for 2 today. And the slider right over the outside corner. Nasty stuff there for out number 1.
Another thing that makes it so difficult is it's hard to pick up the baseball because he keeps it right by his chest. Watch where the baseball starts, right by his chest. and you don't see it. It doesn't travel a long way where you can pick it up behind him and follow it to that release point. Look at the tight spin on that. That's that dot that the hitters talk about. When you throw that slider and it spins so tightly, it's got a dot in the middle of the baseball.
Here's Reese McGuire. Joe Panik has come out in the on-deck circle for Santiago Espinal. And again, new rule this year, pitcher has to save for 3 batters. You know they can't go to a lefty or anything like that. So Panik will get a chance to swing the bat. Joe Panik's an interesting guy. A lot of good years with the Giants. Was an all-star once. Was there for one of their World Series championships. And we may have mentioned this before, but every time Charlie Montoyo talks about him, he says he reminds me of Eric Sogard, and that's pretty high praise coming from Charlie Montoyo. He's been playing different positions in summer camp, trying to be versatile. Here's a drive deep right field. McGuire has hit it out. Reese McGuire goes deep, and the Blue Jays have tied the game.
Boy, McGuire and Jansen give the Blue Jays a pretty good tandem behind the plate. McGuire, a left-handed hitter, Jansen, a right-handed hitter. Reese hit .299 for the season last year with 5 home runs, and he got all over this pitch. That's that slider that didn't slide. It was just spinning up there about 90 miles an hour, and McGuire squared it up. Man, he barreled it up and hit it into the seats in right. Margot just runs out of room, and the Blue Jays have tied it.
And now here's Panik. Brand new ball game here in the 7th inning at Tropicana Field after the Reese McGuire home run. Panik, the position he's played in the big leagues, second base, but came up as a shortstop. Blue Jays have had him at third and a little bit in left field as well in the summer camp games, trying to make him as versatile as possible. And he'll get a chance to get some at bats. He'll get a chance to start some games in certain situations.
Oh, I think he's going to have plenty of opportunities. I think they're going to utilize them both. But Montoyo has said time and time again, I'm going to go with a hot hand.
And he'll do this. He'll fight off pitches. Doesn't have a ton of power. You look at his offensive numbers. They're not huge, but he'll put up a fight. Quality at bat. Sam Gaviglio starting to throw. You can still see Cole standing on the other bullpen mound.
And Gaviglio's trying to get loose in a hurry.
Swing and a miss at a ball in the dirt, and the tag applied for out number 2. Let's get an update with Jamie Campbell.
A day of firsts for sure, Dan, including the first time Justin Smoak has ever hit a home run at Wrigley Field. Brewers scored 8 against the Cubs today in a victory.
All right, Jamie, thank you. So the Brewers evening things up in that series. The Cubs winning last night. Baltimore beat Boston earlier today after the Red Sox trounced the Orioles last night. How about the Dodgers in their first 2 games of the season have outscored the Giants 17-2 in the first 2 games, an 8-1 win and a 9-1 win.
Yeah, the Giants are certainly undermanned, but boy, the Dodgers, they got some team. Yeah, and they just made sure they're going to have a good team for a long time. Signing Mookie Betts to that long-term contract.
Wow. You know, for Red Sox fans, not that anybody goes out of their way to feel sorry for Red Sox fans with all the success they've had, but to trade Betts and then to see him sign with the Dodgers when he wouldn't sign the offer the Red Sox made him, and then Chris Sale out for the season with Tommy John surgery. Looking like a different kind of a year for Boston. And again, with this expanded playoff system where 8 teams get in, like, it wouldn't be the craziest thing in the world to see the Blue Jays and Red Sox competing for one of the last playoff spots in the American League this year. Not to concede anything to the Yankees or the Rays, but it doesn't look like it's going to be a typical Boston kind of season.
Well, and too, they got bad news about Eduardo Rodriguez, their young left-hander, who's been fighting the COVID virus, and he's having other health issues related to that. Reese McGuire, with his first bomb of the season, has tied it up for his battery mate. And like to get one more and get a win for Shoemaker.
Full count on to Bichette. It looks like Shoemaker is done for the afternoon. Again, Cole and Gaviglio both up in the bullpen.
Get him another run. And we mentioned McGuire and Shoemaker working for the first time in a regular season game. Reese did a pretty good job.
Slashed into right field. Looks like it was off the glove of Choi. It'll be a base hit for Bo Bichette with 2 down here in the 7th. And this is a much more typical Bo Bichette 2-strike kind of situation.
Boy, his head stayed down right on that pitch. It's not a bad pitch, but you can see no stride with 2 strikes. That's the way Bo approaches it, and he gets a base hit. In this tie game, got to keep your eye on him now. Kyle Snyder, the pitching coach, out to have a chat.
Well, there's a lot to talk about between pitcher and catcher.
Yeah, there sure is. And McGuire, you know, Shoemaker calls his own game basically, and Reese was trying to get on the same page. They did a heck of a job. And Shoemaker always trying to help his teammates, and now he's trying to help his catcher, what he's thinking about in these situations throughout the course of the day. But they teamed up pretty effectively, just 3 hits through 6 innings. And it's a tie game.
Nick Anderson is getting on. This is interesting. This is the guy expected to get most of the save situations for the Rays. But again, no team will veer away from pre-established roles towards, hey, what matters right now more than Tampa Bay, more than Kevin Cash.
And they're going to use Nick Anderson whenever they feel the game's on the line.
Kevin Biggio 2 for 3.
And I got to keep your eye on Bichette. He doesn't threaten to steal a base here. He was 4 for 8 last year. Boy, this has been a good ball game, huh?
Yep.
A lot of strategy. Both managers trying to match up their hitters with the pitchers. Good take.
You mentioned Bo was 4 for 8 stealing bases last year. In the minors last year was 16 of 21, and 2 years ago stole 32 bases at Double-A. So he's got it in him, and probably just a question of getting more familiar with pitchers' moves, the timing. But he can steal a base.
Zunino is back behind the plate. He's got a very strong arm. He's always been a good defensive catcher. Michael Perez started this game, was lifted for a pinch runner.
Ball 3.
Santiago Espinal made his major league debut here this afternoon. Had a chance to start at third base. Finished up 0 for 2.
Glad he just realized he's 2 batters away. He had to stop having the conversation. Go get the gear. And a 4-pitch walk to put Biggio on and move Bichette up to second.
Well, this is what the Blue Jays wanted. Middle of your order coming on with a chance to take the lead here in the 7th. And it looks like they're going to make a pitching change here. Yep, Kevin Cash is out, and we mentioned Nick Anderson has been the closer for them. But he thinks this is the game right here in the 7th.
Of course you do. Want every game of the Stanley Cup playoffs? Of course you do. Make your move. Get NHL Live. The puck drops here. Good ball game. 1-1 tie, seventh inning. Blue Jays with a couple of men on, a couple of men out. And a new pitcher for the Rays. And again, an interesting move. This is the guy who it is expected will be their closer for the most part this year. Nick Anderson. They got him in a deal last year with the Marlins. He put up ridiculous numbers as a Ray after the trade. 21 and a third innings, walked 2, and struck out 41. But here he is, and again, as you said, Kevin Cash may be feeling, hey, this is the ball game. It's a tie right now. Look at what part of the order's up. They got men on base, so he brings in Anderson to face Gurriel. Jammed him. It's popped up on the infield. Who wants it? Zunino with a basket catch out near the mound, and Anderson gets the third out on just one pitch. But the Blue Jays have tied it up. Reese McGuire with a home run, 1-1 at the Trop. Appearance of the season for Matt Shoemaker, efficient, just 1 run through 6 innings, walked 2, struck out 4, allowed only 3 hits, getting the job done. Only 5 starts last year before tearing his ACL, but back and healthy this year. Tie game going bottom 7, and it'll be a newcomer to the Blue Jays, A.J. Cole. We mentioned he was with Cleveland last year, another big guy with a pretty big arm. Mid-90s. There's a lot more velocity coming out of the Blue Jay bullpen this year than there was a year ago.
And he's a slider thrower as well. A.J. Cole has a terrific slider, and he will throw it a lot. He's got a good fastball too, 95 miles an hour with the heater. And you're right, boy, they have really beefed up the velocity in their bullpen this year with Romano, Cole, Dolis, Bass, all hard throwers.
Cole signed as a non-roster player, so they had to put him on the 40-man roster to get him on the Major League roster. Joe Panik will stay in the game at third base after pinch hitting for Santiago Espinal. One and one the count on Joey Wendell, leading off the bottom of the 7th. High fly ball right field. Hernandez has room on the warning track for out number 1. Interesting, you know, 2 years ago, Teoscar primarily a left fielder. Last year primarily a center fielder. This year primarily a right fielder. Be interesting to see if he's comfortable and what kind of defense he plays.
Yeah, before this game this afternoon, he started just 41 games in right field. Played a lot of center field last year. Has played the majority of his time in the outfield with the Blue Jays in left.
Slider down and away, ball 1 to Manuel Margot, who was 0 for 2. The right fielder for the Rays this afternoon.
Well, a lot of studying going on in the Blue Jays dugout, looking at the Rays lineup, looking at their pitching. Pitching coach Pete Walker right next to the manager Charlie Montoyo, and they're looking at their matchups, what they've got left down in their bullpen.
If you're an umpire with a good strike call, everybody in the ballpark is going to know it this year. Huh? Another fly ball to right field. Hernandez with room again. 2 down.
Well, that's the one thing in a tie game here in the 7th inning. What you want to do is keep the hitters to the big part of the field. You don't want to make mistakes on the pull side of home plate. So Cole was able to get 2 fly balls, just medium depth fly balls to the outfield for the first 2 outs here in the bottom of the 7th.
Couple of fly ball outs. Here's Kevin Kiermaier, 0 for 2. 7 hits for the Blue Jays, 3 hits for the Rays. The Blue Jays have left 8 men on this afternoon. Tampa Bay has left 3.
And to cut that ball on the outside corner and missed. Cole making his 5th career appearance against the Rays.
Up the middle, but Bichette playing right there, and it's a 3-up, 3-down inning for A.J. Cole. End of 7. Rays and Jays still tied at 1. Ballpark app for free and play Pick 3. Select 3 Blue Jay players from the starting lineup and earn points based on their performance during that game. The fan with the highest point total at the end of the game has a chance to win an autographed Blue Jays item. Download MLB Ballpark app today. Visit BlueJays.com/ballpark app.
Beautiful shot of St. Petersburg. You can see Tropicana Field on the right side of your screen. And Blue Jays came back in the 7th, tied on Reese McGuire's first home run of the season. And we're in the 8th, middle of the order for the Blue Jays.
Blake Snell on the left, the starter in tomorrow's game for the Rays. Nick Anderson still on the mound for Tampa Bay. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. leading off the 8th for the Blue Jays. Vladdy is 1 for 3.
Well, I like that swing. He went after that fastball a little bit up, but he had an aggressive mindset right there. Anderson throws hard, and he took a good hack at that heater.
After Vladdy, Travis Shaw, Randall Grichuk. At some point, you got to believe the perfect situation will arise in this game where maybe Charlie can get Rowdy Tellez into the game. Get that left-handed power bat up there against a righty with the new 3-batter rule. It's a little more predictable, a little easier for the manager of the hitting team to get a favorable matchup. Wouldn't be in this part of the order, of course. Guerrero, Shaw, Grichuk. Sharply hit, but right at the shortstop. Adames looks it over. High throw, but brought down on the bag by Choi. 1 down.
There's Rowdy Tellez on the deck, on the bench. And a little bit earlier, he got up with a chance, maybe pinch hitting earlier in the game, but Joe Panik pinch hit in the 7th inning, so they didn't have to use 2 players as he pinch hit for the third baseman. Panik stayed in the game and took over at third.
Looks like Rowdy gave himself a number 1 up top.
Yeah, he got a little close to the old Clipper.
Yeah.
Cleaned himself up.
Yeah, I speak from experience. Yeah. That's at most a 2. That looks like a 1.
Yeah, he is right there. Had to get a different hat, I bet.
Yeah. Sometimes you got to do what you got to do. Shaw pokes one the other way, and that's down for a base hit. Cut off by Lau. And it'll be a long single for Travis Shaw. Wonder if we'll see a pinch runner in this situation. Again, expanded rosters. You got Rowdy on the bench. Do we see a Fisher or an Alford coming out to run in this kind of a ball game?
Yeah, maybe if it's a leadoff single here in the 8th. Good job by Travis as he stays on that pitch. He had a double in that same direction in last night's game. I'm with you. If it's a leadoff single, I think they pinch run. Or if he gets to second base in this at bat, wild pitch, ball in the dirt, then they might make the switch.
Yeah, you're right. More often with a leadoff base hit. 0-1 the count on Grichuk. Sam Gaviglio looks like he's going to come on for the bottom of the 8th inning.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised by this. A.J. Cole threw 10 pitches and really handled the bottom part of the order. And he was going to be able to face Willie Adames and Mike Zunino, the catcher, in the 8 and 9 spot. Especially in a 1-1 game. You just don't know how long this is going to go. Of course, it's not going to go deep with that new extra inning rule.
Now, the first extra inning game of the season last night between the Angels and the A's out in Oakland. A runner at second base to start each half inning in extra innings. And the runner is the guy who made the last out in the last inning. So the first ever major leaguer to be that guy was Shohei Ohtani. who had forgotten. And you can't blame him. You're just not thinking about that sort of a thing. Somebody had to go get him and tell him, hey, you're the guy at second base. You got to get out there. Fly ball to right field. Margot will make the catch for out number 2.
Ohtani took second base to start the inning and then got in a rundown. A sharply hit ball to the first baseman. He broke for third. Matt Olson, the Oakland A's first baseman, made a nice throw over to Chapman, and they had Ohtani in a rundown, so he was erased from the bases.
And then Olson hit a walk-off grand slam, right? In the bottom half of the 10th inning. That's one way to end a ball game. Here's Teoscar Hernandez 0 for 3. 1-1 tie in the 8th inning. Well, the Blue Jays got to feel good about winning in this ballpark yesterday, playing the Rays to a standstill today, but I think they're past the point about, feeling good about themselves when they're competing with good teams. It's time to win and to beat good teams, and especially in a short season with an expanded playoff system, they're not looking for any moral victories this year.
No. Close only counts in horseshoes, Dan. They're past the close point.
Yep.
They need to win. Well, he took that pitch. That was never a strike. He just kind of committed to swinging when Anderson started his delivery.
Reese McGuire with a home run his last time up. The only Blue Jay run of the afternoon waiting on deck. Shaw at first, 2 down. Hernandez the batter. That one will bounce away, but not far enough for Shaw to risk it.
Let me ask you this, thinking about extra innings and the rules, do you think managers are impacted by the fact I don't want to use my pinch hitter here in the 8th inning, so I have as many options as possible in the extra innings? So it's going to be interesting, and we're going to see this strategy play out over the course of the season. You take a shot in regulation to win it, or do you save some of your bullets for the possibility of extra innings?
Right, because if you want a pinch run in extra innings, it might cost you 2 guys, depending on what position you're pinch running for. To right center field, but playable for Kiermaier, and the Blue Jays are retired. 1-1 going to the bottom of the 8th. Time now for a Blue Jays Central update. Once again, Jamie and Joe in the Samsung studio.
Dan, the segment brought to you by the new Samsung Galaxy S20 Series 5G. You get the impression, Joe, that Kevin Cash may have overlooked Reese McGuire a little bit?
I think he did, because with this new rule, a relief pitcher has to come in and face at least 3 batters. He brought in Pete Fairbanks. He was scheduled to face 3 out of 4 right-handed batters. Now, righties got to him last year, but maybe you overlook the one lefty and think, we'll get through him. Well, guess what? Fairbanks hung that slider right out over the plate. So it was a very interesting call, but sometimes now with this new rule, you may think again, and you don't want to overlook anyone, but we love this catching tandem with the Blue Jays. Both have contributed in the first 2 days.
We may see Thomas Hatch make his Major League debut tomorrow. If he does, you can see it here on Sportsnet. Blue Jay Central comes your way at 12:30 Eastern, 9:30 Pacific time. See, we've been off a while. I had to calculate
there,
that.
weren't you?
Yeah. I'll get it. I'll be back in just a minute. It's
It's anyone's game. The Stanley Cup qualifiers begin August 1st on Sportsnet. 12 teams in Edmonton, 12 more in Toronto. At Tropicana Field down in Florida, Blue Jays won, Rays won, and into the game for his first appearance of the 2020 season is Sam Gaviglio.
Boy, Sam had quite a valuable season for the Blue Jays when you look at 95 2/3 innings out of the bullpen. Had 88 strikeouts and a pretty respectable whip at 1.12. Sam has a great slider. He can throw it down and away, hit a spot anytime he wants to. He throws a split grip changeup. You'll see him get that changeup grip in his hand set before he comes into his glove. He did a great job for the Blue Jays the last couple of years.
And it'll be Willy Adames leading it off for the Rays.
8 and 9 in the Rays lineup. You want to be aggressive and keep these guys off the bases before you turn the lineup over. You see Reese McGuire go down to one knee, and you're watching around baseball. A lot of catchers are doing this now. As you look at Oliver Drake, former Blue Jay, warming up down in the Rays dugout. But a lot of catchers have decided to go to one knee. It gives them a little better low target. Gary Sanchez of the Yankees has incorporated into his catching, and all reports are very positive that he's improved his ability to block, receive the ball a little more consistently. But I have no problem with it at all.
Fastball up and a swing and a miss by Adames for the first out.
Boy, first outs of innings, first strikes of at-bats are very key, and Sam just elevated that fastball and gets a big first out here in the 8th.
It was funny going into spring training or then summer camp, when people were asking about roles and how will your rotation stack up, Charlie, and who's going to do what in the bullpen. If you were asking Charlie about what he thinks is a certainty, you didn't get very far before he started talking about Sam Gaviglio. Obviously Giles was going to be the closer. Obviously Ryu was going to be the #1 starter. But if anybody ever said, you know, is Gaviglio going to make the team, or how do you feel about it? And Charlie would always say, oh, Sammy knows his role. Sammy will do the same thing that he did last year. It was, if anything can be etched in stone in this crazy world we live in right now, from a Blue Jay perspective, Sam Gaviglio was one of those things.
Yeah, Montoya put Gaviglio in his lineup card in ink. He was going to make the team because he was so valuable. And you have to reward these guys. I mean, we talked about 95 innings out of the bullpen in a season where the pitching was just terrible for the Blue Jays. He was as consistent as anybody on their staff.
Right on the outside corner, 2-2 on a Mike Zunino.
I tell you what, he can reach back and throw that strike down and away to a right-hander anytime he wants to. Now he can throw that slider in that same area, probably get Zunino to chase.
Here it comes. Off the end of the bat, but he got enough of it to line it into center field for a base hit.
Not a bad pitch. Give Zunino credit. He stayed on it. That's his first hit in 4 at-bats against Gaviglio. But maybe a little too predictable. They went there too quickly, maybe. But you can see that's a ball. Off the plate, down and away. Credit the hitter sometimes for having a good at-bat. Zunino delivers right here. You see the value of having 3 catchers?
Yeah.
Now they've got a pinch runner. That's Hunter Renfroe that comes off the bench. The Rays are carrying 3 catchers. Not many teams in the majors do this anymore. But the Rays feel like with the 30-man roster, they had that luxury. Kevin Smith is the 3rd catcher. Hunter Renfroe started the game in right field last night.
So the amazing thing is, just by pinch running for catchers, Kevin Cash will use 4 of his 5 bench players. Pinch run, new catcher, pinch run, new catcher. So the only guy he's going to have left after all this is Jose Martinez.
Well, the first time he pinch ran, he scored the first run of the game.
Yep, paid off. And Kevin Cash will not err on the side of caution. When in doubt, he'll make a move.
Yeah.
He's in go for it now mode, and worry about later a little bit later. G-Man Choi.
That's a pretty good pitch. A little bit low for Hunter Renfroe, the home plate umpire. Bichette and Biggio up the middle talking about their responsibility should there be a ground ball. They turned a double play in the 4th. They'd love to get one here in the 8th. Something's going on in the outfield, and Jory saw something that was a distraction. I'm not sure what it was. Obviously, we're not at the ballpark, so we can't see everything.
Ryan Moran is up now for the Blue Jays, the side-arming left-hander. Made the team as a non-roster player. And he's another guy who figures to be impacted by the 3-batter rule. He's the kind of guy who would normally come in and face one lefty, but if he's coming in, he's got to face 3 batters or end the inning, whichever comes first. So there's a real element of risk here. Like, say there are 2 outs, 2 on, and there's a lefty up. This might be your guy to get him. But if he doesn't get him, he's got to stay in and then maybe face a really good right-handed batter.
Well, and the next batter standing on deck is Brandon Lau. He's a left-handed hitter, but then you have Yandy Diaz. Maybe they take a shot if there are 2 outs and Lau is the batter. Bring Moran in, try to end the inning.
Yeah. You know, people who said this will take away from strategy,
no.
I think it's backwards. This will increase strategy. Whether you like it or not, fine, but this will increase strategy and make decisions harder. That is ball 4, and it bounces off of McGuire to the backstop, and no damage done as Renfroe will stop at second.
Well, ball 4, and Renfroe has to hold up. Choi takes ball 4. He's at first. First and second, 1 out. So Gaviglio and McGuire talking about the next batter, Brandon Lau. And Pete Walker's going to get in on the conversation and add his 2 cents. Lau has never had a hit against Gaviglio. He's 0 for 9. So that factors in here, making sure now, as you can see, Reese McGuire's looking at his scouting report on Lau with Gaviglio on the mound. This is how we're going to pitch to him. Sam, of course, knows how he has gotten them out in the past, and Pete Walker wants to make sure they're both on the same page. And you can see that Walker's talking more to McGuire than he is to Gaviglio. They had a mix-up last night between Dolis and Jansen with signs in that rough inning for Dolis. Took him 27 pitches to get out of the inning. But Brandon Lau, he knows he's 0 for 9 against Gaviglio as well. This is a pivotal point of the ball game. Obviously, bottom of the 8th in a 1-1 game.
So Moran not coming in now, maybe being held back in case a Tsutsugo comes up a couple of batters from now. So it's up to Gaviglio right now, but it looks like for 2 more batters as he tries to get out of this situation and keep the game tied. Fastball there, 0-1.
Beautiful. Jumps ahead of him with the heater.
Drive right center field, and this ball's going to the fence. 1 run home for sure. Choi is rounding. He will come home. To third on the play goes Lau, and it's 3-1 Rays.
Tampa Bay has always been tough on the Blue Jays late in games, and again they get a big hit from Brandon Lau. Hunter Renfroe, the pinch runner, scores. And right behind him, G-Man Choi. It's a changeup that Lau stays on. This is his first hit in 10 at-bats against Gaviglio. And boy, it's a big hit, obviously. A 2-run lead now here in the bottom of the 8th as he picks up the triple. Renfroe scores, and right behind him, Choi.
Now Yandy Diaz trying to add to the lead. A little bit outside for ball 2.
Blue Jays are playing their infield in now. Oliver Drake is ready down in their bullpen. Kevin Cash, he's not made the announcement of who's his closer because he never knows who he's going to use late in the game. He's got a lot of options down there.
And a balk is going to bring a run home. Hunter Wendelstedt just called a balk on Sam Gaviglio.
Looked like Gaviglio was looking for a sign. Thought McGuire was finished, and watch how he gets here. He's set, looks in for a sign, starts and moved, and certainly that is a balk. Just enough movement. Watch the right shoulder. He moved that right shoulder back, and Hunter Wendelstedt, he didn't miss it.
Oh, it looked good, but called ball 4 in this rough first outing of the season. It continues for Gaviglio, and Charlie's already on his way out of the dugout to make the change and bring Brian Moran into the game. The Rays are up for 3 here in the bottom of the 8th and now lead 4-1. Toronto Blue Jays.
Sam Gaviglio on the mound facing a guy that was 0 for 9 against him in Brandon Lau, and Lau gets his first hit, and it's a big one. A 2-run triple all the way to the wall in deep right center. Hunter Renfroe scores, and right behind him, G-Man Choi scores, and the Rays hit 2 RBIs from Brandon Lau and take a 3-1 lead, now a 4-run lead after the balk committed by Sam Gaviglio.
And here's the Blue Jay debut for Brian Moran. Made the team as a non-roster player. Located with the Marlins last year. Pitched a little bit for them, but was in the minors most of the time. Actually struck out his brother Colin of the Pirates in his first major league appearance. Blue Jays were looking for another left-handed option out of the bullpen, and he beat out guys like Travis Bergen and Thomas Pannone to make the team.
Yeah, and it's kind of interesting given his 3-man rule, but Charlie Montoya and Pete Walker felt like Moran has enough to handle a right-handed batter or 2. And he'll deal with a left-handed hitter, Yoshi Tsutsugo, the first batter here. Still just 1 out.
Another lefty on deck and Joey Wendell, unless Jose Martinez comes up to hit for him, but seems unlikely at this point that Cash would make that move.
Yeah, he's going to have to use Kevin Smith behind the plate, and he'll have just Jose Martinez left on his bench. And he's got a 3-run lead in the 8th.
Yeah, it's about defense right now for Cash more than a pinch hitting opportunity. So there's, in terms of the matchups, the timing works out well here to bring Moran into the game. But bigger picture, of course, is that the Blue Jays are now down by 3. One and 2. You can see why he'd be something tough to handle for a left-handed batter when his command is on.
Yeah, that big sweeping breaking ball, difficult on lefties to hang in there against Moran.
He is not a kid, 31 years of age, out of Port Chester, New York. Pitched at the University of North Carolina, originally a 7th-round pick of Seattle in 2009, but it took him a long time to get to the major leagues. Didn't get into the big leagues until he made his debut with the Marlins last season.
Yeah, this is just his 11th big league game.
There are a lot of guys like him, but man, 10 full years in the minor leagues. And you know, you're looking at the same page online I am. What, 15 to 18 different teams probably bouncing around through a bunch of different organizations before he finally gets to the big leagues. Give him credit for perseverance. Got him. Strikes out Tsutsugo, 2 down as we check in with Jamie.
Dan to Cincinnati. Joey Votto hit a home run yesterday. He's done it again today. And then just moments ago, Freddie Galvis hits a 2-run shot. So the Reds have a 3-1 lead on Detroit. They're in the 3rd.
Now they're playing Detroit, not expected to be a very strong team this year, but Cincinnati looks like a very interesting team with all the pickups that they made. And if they can get something closer to the Joey Votto of a few years ago rather than the Joey Votto of last season, that gives the offense another boost. That pitch was behind Joey Wendell. McGuire caught it behind the legs of Wendell.
Yeah, and generally that's a tough pitch for a hitter to get out of the way of, because normally you'll walk right into this pitch, but Wendell had the presence of mind just to stay put. And McGuire does a good job of catching that pitch behind him.
How many times in your life do you think you did that?
I caught one pitch that stands out of my mind. Jim Gott was on the mound, and we were trying to hit Robin Yount, and he threw one behind him.
Wendell thought it was funny, and whatever he said, McGuire thought it was funny. Obviously, everybody knew there was no intent. 66-mile-an-hour breaking ball.
Yeah, after I caught that ball from Robin Yount, he turns and says, "Hey, I think he was trying to hit me."
No comment?
No comment.
Weak ground ball to the right side. Moran does his job getting a couple of outs, but it's the Rays who have scored 3 here in the bottom of the 8th and take that 3-run lead to the 9th.
In the 7th, this made it 1-1. Exit velocity at 97. It went 379 feet. The StatCast AI is powered by Google Cloud. First home run of the season for Reese McGuire, and it was a game-tying home run in the top of the 7th.
9th inning, 3-run lead for the Rays. Oliver Drake is into the game, a former Blue Jay. Briefly, but a former Blue Jay. And a guy who has a lot of success against lefties because of the occasionally crazy movement on his split-fingered fastball that goes down and away from left-handed batters. In 2018, the Blue Jays were one of 5 different teams that he pitched for. That is a major league record. At his best year last year, a 3.21 ERA in 50 appearances, struck out 70 in 56 innings. And he will face Reese McGuire, Joe Panik, and Bo Bichette.
Oliver Drake's a unique pitcher, not only in his style the way he pitches, but he began his collegiate career at the Naval Academy. But then he was drafted by the Orioles and withdrew his assignment. Gets an easy out here to start the top of the 9th.
McGuire retired, and that'll bring up Panik.
Kevin Smith, the 3rd catcher on his Rays roster, takes over behind the plate.
And they're moving all over the place. I think Wendell's at 3rd now, and Lau's at 2nd, and Margot's in left, and Renfro's in right.
Yep. Woohoo. You got it right. Good job.
Wow. Panik's second at bat. He struck out back in the 7th.
We mentioned Pete Fairbanks and his very short arm stroke earlier in the game when he was pitching in the 7th, and this is the opposite of that. Oliver Drake drops that ball way down by his right knee, but it's difficult for hitters to pick up because he closes his body so dramatically. You can see that ball almost touches the dirt on the mound. Quite a different delivery than what we saw with Pete Fairbanks. Moran did a nice job. His first appearance for the Blue Jays, just his 11th big league game.
.30 fastball there for a strike, 3-1. It's as if the Rays go shopping at the odds and ends bullpen store, and anybody who looks too much like anybody else they're not interested in.
Yeah, they don't want a whole bunch of fastball slider guys.
Yeah.
And there's an off-speed pitch. That split change he throws so well. You have to deal with so many different looks when you're batting as a starter against the Rays bullpen, because they'll give you different looks all over the place.
I mean, he turns his back on you. He looks like he's going to fall over when he begins his windup. And another ground ball. 2 down here in the 9th. Danny Jansen talking with Dante Bichette. Looks like A lot of the young Blue Jays have gotten to know Dante Bichette pretty well in the last little while. Expect to see Danny in there with Blake Snell on the mound tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah, he'll be starting tomorrow. Unless they have a dramatic comeback, they'll be playing for the series tomorrow afternoon. And we'll have it for you right here.
By the way, Blue Jays heading to Washington to take on the Nationals after this series. Steven Strasburg was scratched from his start tonight with a nerve issue in his hand. That's all the information that I saw while we're doing the game. But the Blue Jays, they would have faced Strasburg at some point during that series. So, and maybe he'll still start. We don't know the severity of the injury, but you know, Kershaw scratched from his start for the Dodgers on opening night. Strasburg scratched now for the Nationals.
Yeah, and that's the problem you have when you have an abbreviated spring training. Guys aren't 100% physically fit, ready to play. Reese McGuire with his first home run of the season. He and Matt Shoemaker teamed up and did a great job through the 6 innings for Shoemaker. He allowed just 1 run on 3 hits over 6 innings. That ball was off the plate. Cut fastball away, called a strike.
So the Blue Jays down to their final strike here this afternoon at the Trop, trailing 4-1. 3 in the bottom of the 8th for the Rays to break the tie. Very good start by Matt Shoemaker, a home run for Reese McGuire, but Tampa Bay taking the lead off Sam Gaviglio in the bottom of the 8th inning.
Oliver Drake had a couple of saves for Tampa Bay last year. He was 2 for 3. When you look at this Rays bullpen, Alvarado had 7 saves. Anderson only had 1 save. Beeks had a save. Castillo had a save. Drake had 2. Fairbanks had 2. And Poche, who's out for the season with a Tommy John injury, he had a couple of saves as well. So they spread it around.
Again, the 2-2 to Bichette. And a fastball swung on and missed, and that's the ball game. Drake will get the save. The Rays even up the series with a 4-1 win over the Blue Jays, setting the stage for the rubber match tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah, unfortunately, the Blue Jays wasted a great start by Matt Shoemaker. We mentioned the 6 innings of 3-hit ball. He allowed just 1 run, but the bullpen, as we have seen so many times, shut down the Blue Jays late in the game, and they had a big inning late in the 8th inning to win this one.
We'll be back with you tomorrow afternoon. First pitch just after 1 o'clock Eastern time. But now let's send you to Blue Jays Central. Again, here are Jamie Campbell and Joe Siddall.